Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands. Today it's a WNR611. It's WWE SummerSlam. Luckily, I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show is, of course, a fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jax?
Hello. Yes, welcome back to another one. We did the pre-show of SummerSlam before, so if you guys listened in on that, then you'll get to hear kind of how we felt about how our things went compared to our predictions.
Exactly. That's what we're going to find out today, isn't it? Because I know we did speak during the event, but this is going to be the actual review. We feel like I've been in SummerSlam for about a week now, Jax, don't you?
It kind of feels like that, especially considering the fact that it's across 2 days. There's a lot that comes out of SummerSlam, and especially immediately after, in terms of like the post show and sort of after news. So there's always a lot to catch up on when it comes to SummerSlam.
No doubt. Up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod, former House of Torture member, AEW Toxic Stanhausen, and my God, will someone stop the damn match? It is the last real good guy. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
It's going great. It's going great. We're excited to be back. Continuing, like you mentioned earlier, our SummerSlam coverage in a sense. We had a pre-show. Now we get a review. And it's good to, and like you said, it's been a week, but a lot can happen not only after the show, but like just breaking down what happened during the show. The two shows we kind of get in one weekend. So this should be fun to like, kind of recap our thoughts, talk about how wrong or right we was, or just talk about how much fun we had watching the show. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And I did mention it last week, but I will say to you, Monty, as well, that your first episode was 311. So it does mean, being 611 today, 300 episodes, which is pretty crazy.
Yep. Well, time flies when you're having a moderate time. I'm not gonna say it was great.
No, but you see what I'm saying? No, guys. I mean, even with doing like 11 years now, it's like when you get told after, like, oh, you've done 50 episodes, 100, you're like, oh, wow. But after a while, do you know what I mean? Oh, you've done it for five, tell you've done it 11 years now, you've done 600 episodes. It's just like, oh, yeah, I know. Like, but again, it's a milestone, I suppose.
It's routine at this point. It's a part of the routine now,
Yeah. And last but by no means least, I never meant to cause you any sorrow. I never meant to cause you any pain. I only wanted one time to see you laughing. I only wanted to see you laughing in the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. I love purple pain, purple pain. Purple pain, purple pain. I only wanna see you, baby, in the purple rain. I gotta go. Gotta calm down, gotta calm down. It is Gina. How's it going? Purple Pain.
Hello, yay! That's my favorite one so far. I'm a huge
Ah,
Prince fan, if that's not obvious. Um, and I'm definitely happy to be bathing in the purple rain. So,
ah,
thank you,
yeah.
James. I'm happy to be here.
I don't know, probably. And again, I gave that extra, I gave that everything. Well, maybe not everything I had, but do you know what I mean? Like, I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to catch my breath.
I felt the dedication. Don't worry, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, I thought about to say sex appeal, but anyway, it's SummerSlam. Who knows? It's hot. I might take some clothes off, but anyway, it is just SummerSlam weekend to cover. But before that, we have got some sad news. I do want to mention this. Dory Funk Jr. He's a member of the legendary Funk Wrestling Dynasty. They didn't come much tougher or more respected than Dory Funk Jr. Alongside his younger brother Terry, Dory earned a distinguished reputation as a marquee attraction as both a tag team and singles competitor. He won numerous championships over a career that lasted more than half a century, most notably a 4-year run as NWA World Heavyweight Champion, which ranks only behind Lou Thesz for the longest reign in the title's history. He regularly competed across the United States and Japan and also serves as a promoter in both countries. The Funks were even victorious at WrestleMania 2 against Tito Santana Santana, and Junkyard Dog. Dory eventually followed in his father's footsteps by opening a wrestling school, the Funkin' Conservatory, which served as a pipeline into WWE's Attitude Era and beyond. Here's some names he helped train: Adam Copeland, The Hardys, Kurt Angle, Christian Cage, Kenta Kobashi, Misuara, Chris Hero, Mickey James, Lita, Ted DiBiase, Stan Hansen, Bob Backlund, Tenryu, Mark Henry. He and Terry Funk are the only brothers to win both world championship, and he was 85 when his passed. But his last match was in August of 2024, where he teamed with Nishimura in Victory. Monty, a lot of South people, a lot of passing and stuff like this, but Dory Funk, I mean, all I can say is what a guy he was. Do you know what? That is a career and a half.
He had multiple careers. Like you could put like his entire career. Like when you try to read it out, like you literally reading out like 4 or 5 other wrestlers' whole careers to make up what Dory had, was able to do and how long he was able to do it. Whether it was all the way back in the day in the '70s and stuff like that, or all the way up to like you just mentioned the 2020s. Like I remember watching him wrestling in ECW in like '97. I think he fought like Shane Douglas or something. Like I remember seeing that back, and I was just like, there. Like one thing I always knew about Terry was that Terry, again, like you mentioned this doc a long ago, and Terry was very very old, but he had retired a billion times. But like the one thing about the Fox is that they just always was wrestling. They were always synonymous, whether they were training people, whether they were still getting booked, still doing appearances. So I mean, honestly, like everybody talk about Cody Rhodes' theme song, the beginning about more than one wrestling family, have more than one wrestling royal family. But to me, I don't know how you could talk about that type of lineage without talking about the Funks. And Dory was definitely the name right next to Terry Funk as like just again very 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 legendary across many generations. Like again, I may have not known him in his prime, but I got to watch a lot or see a lot of him even as a young fan. And like you grow up in, like you said, you grow up being a fan of wrestling. You know about Terry, you know about the family, and it's just, again, it's one of those situations. Like I don't know if you can say other than like the Von Erichs. You got the Funks, you got of course like Rhodes and Flair and a lot of those names. And I mean, I'm assuming McMahon would be in there too. But again, don't it's literally wrestling royalty, and like no better example of just what make professional wrestling what it is. Like whether it's traveling across different promotions, whether it's just being a trailblazer and like you said, training the next generation. Like Dory Funk is a great example of like if you want to explain to somebody or read off what to someone what a professional wrestler is through multiple generations and eras. I don't know how you can come up with a better example than someone like Dory Funk.
Yeah. Again, the word get banded around, but this, Dory Funk was a true legend, and he will be missed. All right, let's go on with it then. July 29th, we had a SummerSlam special with Joe Test, Big E, and Peter Robertsberg in studio. Punk and Over interviewed. Sammy was on Zoom, and so was Chelsea, and they showed us Brock versus Taker in the cell. Jackie sat down with Seth, and it was pointless. And then August 1st, we had a 3-hour kickoff. Joe Test, Big E, Graves, Peter Sandsberg, and they're outside. Jackie had a walk with Cody, lookalike competition won by Belair. Tiffy was interviewed. She was doing pictures that probably cost $250. Do you know what, Gina? People, this makes me fucking sick. They're treated like sheep, but they're paying for it. They're fucking mugs. She's literally having an interview and yet spending that amount of money just on a picture. I don't get it. Maybe I'm spoiled with my meeting of wrestlers.
I mean, yeah, I think, fans that are happy to pay that is of their own accord. In some ways, with this day and age and economy, that sort of amount that they're expecting for just a picture is becoming a bit out of, well, what I would think is a lot of people's, price range. But there are those who are dedicated, who save money specifically for events like this as well. So, yeah, each to their own, I guess.
It's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't understand the kind of like, picture move. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. I'm just like, if you You can't have a conversation. I remember that when the people were meeting the Undertaker, it was literally like a handshake and moving on. It cost like an extra 200 quid. And I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
that is a bit much. As one who has gone to Comic Cons for a few years, and I have waited in line to get a signature from someone, and it was nice because I actually got to stand there and talk with them for a couple of minutes. And they actually took a couple of selfies with me when I only paid for the autograph, So there are some people who, I say back in the day, obviously this was like a couple of years ago, but back then it seemed a lot more personal when you purchased these photo ops or signings. You actually got to have a conversation with them for 5-10 minutes before moving on to the next. I don't know if it's just a gain in popularity. There's not enough time to dedicate to talk to people in that way. I mean, I also respect that there's personal boundaries too, because there are some people who take advantage of those sessions and can invade people's private space, so I get that sense of things, but it is a little bit ridiculous in what you're charging, and I don't even get to tell you my damn name. You just made $200 off of me, and I don't even get to say hi. I'm Gina. I'm a very big fan. And for them to say, "Hi, Gina, it's nice to meet you." No, I don't even get that. It's take a photo and move on. And
yeah.
it's like, wow. So yeah, again, you have to think, is it worth it now in this day and age? Back when a couple of years ago, where they might have been a lot more talkative to each fan that comes their way. Now it's just, shift on, move on. We need to speed this up so we can get more money coming in and more signings, more photos, so.
Yeah. And also, we should mention as well that New Japan stopped their wrestlers meeting people outside of meet and greets ever since Jaxie and Carter and the incident they had. So again, New
That's
Japan.
bullshit, and you know it. Do
That
not
is all
That
that
is
is
the
gold.
honest fucking truth. They
He
changed the
ran, he
rule
ran the other way
a
before I
week
could even get
later.
anywhere near him. There's absolutely no proof of this, James.
New Japan changed the rule a week later. All
They
right,
did not. They
they
absolutely
did.
did not.
Right, okay. And I'm not going to argue. We're
It
going
was
to
a
move on to something.
coincidence, I guess. It was a coincidence, yeah.
Yeah. Booker and Vic doing commentary on WWE Radio. This being WWE, they said it was the first time ever, but of course, JR and Gorilla used to do it in the 90s. Bloodline interviewed. Punk and Big E work out. Big E says he regrets hitting AJ more than his neck injury. Jaxie, I thought this was quite a moment for Big E because he's working out with Punk. And, Punk's like, of course you hit my wife. He goes, yeah, I regret that more than breaking my neck. Like, wow, what a guy. But I just want to hug Big E.
Yeah, I mean, like, if that didn't warm Punk's heart, I don't know what could, because I don't think that there's anything else that could be said in that sense. But I mean, Biggie's just like the most humble guy,
Yeah. I think this is the thing. And even with these post shows and stuff like everybody loves Big E. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody, even Dan Housen likes Big E. Like, Big E's just a likable guy.
I mean, if you don't, then you're just maybe not a likable person yourself.
Yeah, it's just true. Kathy got a word with Triple H. Mark Henry joined the panel. Busted Open is now WWE Radio. Bunch of sellouts. Vaughn Evelyn completely destroyed God Bless America. This was made funnier by the fact she is a daughter of Triple H and Stephanie. Monty, I wonder how she got the job, but we kind of, I felt I was watching live because you were pissing yourself at this.
Hey, man. Hey, all right. Okay. Again, I get it. But you gotta understand, I don't usually pay attention to who's ever singing the little opening songs and all that. I really don't. Like, to me, it's only two ways you get my attention. Is you either singing really, really good or something a little off or something ain't right. And I just look up and I just hear somebody wailing this horrible. First of all, I don't really care for the song. So that's maybe I got a bias anyway. But second of all, like, I'm like, hold up, this don't sound right. I just look up and she just like all out of pitch and just screaming. And again, I'm not gonna act like I'm the greatest singer in the world. I'm not. But I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, who do we usually they got these Grammy nominated R&B or just like not even just R&B, but a pop star. Like they usually have people who we know is singing, whether it's the national anthem, whether it's America Beautiful, or whatever these songs they choose. When Lillian was doing it, like we know, it's like a standard that you kind of expect. And like I'm gonna be honest with you, like it did not sound good. I was way harsher the day of. I'm trying to be a little bit nicer right now, but yeah, it wasn't that good. It wasn't good at all to me. But then we find out later on during the show who it was, and I was like, oh, okay, so it all makes sense. And they changed her name, I guess, or didn't give the name Levesque or or McMahon. I guess some people wanted it to be, which whatever, to each his own. I don't really care, but
Monty, you
it
laughed
do
even
feel like
harder
you
the
hit it
moment
on
you found
purpose
out who it was. You laughed even harder the
because
moment you found out.
Because, like James mentioned, I wonder how she got the position because she didn't sound qualified. But now, when I found out it's your last name, it's like, oh, okay. Like, did it tickle me a little bit more that it was Triple H's daughter? Yes, of course it did. But I'm just
It made so
saying,
much more
like,
sense as to why she
I'm just
was performing.
right. It explained everything. It's like, oh, okay. So this didn't necessarily have to go through the proper channels to be of the quality I was expecting because she, I don't, again, I'm not saying it's a negative, look out for your people. I don't necessarily hate on nepotism all the time. I mean, screw billionaires, but still, I don't hate on nepotism. But
But I
I'm
mean,
just saying,
I gotta admit, Monty, as a Brit, I am not sure what is the correct way to sing your anthem because the amount of renditions I've heard of it each time has been so different that I'm like, does anyone know how to sing this goddamn national anthem? So
well,
that's my
see,
biggest problem.
that's because depending on the event, they decide to actually do our national anthem, which would be the Star Spangled Banner, or they do these songs like America the Beautiful, which I guess is just like an ode to America. Like it's not really it's not. I don't know if maybe it is a national song of some sort, but it's not the national anthem. The national anthem is the Star Spangled Banner. So it
Oh,
it
that's my
depends on
bad.
what you're watching. No, it's not your fault. It's confusing to me. I don't know who makes the decision on, oh, you know what? Instead of the national anthem, let's do America the Beautiful this time. Let's do this song this time. I don't know who make that decision, but again, so I'm not surprised if you're not from America, you would be confused on what you're hearing. But either way it goes, it sucked, and I got a nice chuckle out of it when I found out why it sucked.
I will admit as well, just putting my 2 cents into it, is that that's one of the things when I was a bit younger and watching wrestling that I did sometimes look forward to, not necessarily hearing the national anthem or whichever song they were singing at the time, but what maybe star that they brought in would bring in to sing it. And if I didn't know them, my parents would know, and then I'd kind of like, do some research maybe if I like the sound of their voice, etc. But it's just one of those things where I feel like they've definitely gone downhill in terms of like getting those that they want coming in to sing at these, especially at the big main shows like SummerSlam and WrestleMania, and it was just a bit shocking just to realize like actually it doesn't matter, especially before we found out she was Triple H's kid. We was like, it doesn't matter um in terms of who they invite to do that part, even though they have people like Little Yachty constantly coming on the show. And I'm not saying to have him on, but you clearly like to cross your boundaries with celebrities, so you would just think they'd put more of an effort into keeping consistent, at least even with these two bigger shows, that they'd have some sort of musical talent come in and do a bum ass opening.
Mm. Yeah, without a doubt. Anyway, on to the main show. And on rewatch, the first night was 2.5 hours. Second night was 2.5 as well. When I watched live, they felt about the same length. Felt like it was more ads maybe second night, but maybe I was wrong. They did have a few on Saturday. I mean, Gina, for you, do you watch both live and what felt longer, if any?
I did watch both live. The feeling that I'm getting is kind of similar to you in the sense of the second night felt a little bit more ad heavy, but again, I think the shows are ad heavy anyway, regardless.
Yeah. Anyway, I started watching and then found out it was night two first until realised about 5 minutes in, so I switched back to night one. We got Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. The champion took control right out the gate, but the Genius Sky didn't let her keep it for too long. Match quickly turned into competitive back and forth fight with both women leaning to their strengths. Sky used her speed and agility while Morgan tried to take some shortcuts to keep the title. Rodriguez and Perez showed up to give Liv an unfair advantage. The final few minutes probably the best part of the match. Sky was definitely the star of this, but in the end, Morgan prevailed to retain her title. Jaxie starts off. What did you think of this?
I mean, in terms of just like the caliber of the wrestling, I thought that this was actually a good showing, a good match for Io and Liv. I think they work quite well together, and you can see that. You had a lot of the crowd behind Io constantly, so it was like there was quite a lot of excitement right from the get go, from them starting. I'm just confused as to what we were doing here. I'm confused as to why we needed to put Liv Morgan in this Queen of the Ring tournament just to have a showdown between these two at what other event was it? The one just gone?
Night Champions just gone.
Night of Champions. Just for Io to come out on top, just for Liv to ultimately have a rematch at SummerSlam and retain. Like I just don't get the purpose of it. Like this, that like again, like that. I think because of how all of this has been built up, I guess I'm just disappointed with the result, and it's not because of I went with Io. I thought Io was going to win it. It's more a case of what did we achieve in this past month. We could have put like someone else in that position in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Instead of Liv in the first place, there was no absolute no reason why she needed to join it, the tournament at all. You know, let alone go to the finals to face off against Io for it. Like if they were going to always have her retain, they should. It would have been much better for Io to face any other woman at Night of Champions. So I guess I'm just a bit disappointed because like overall they did well, but this match felt pointless to be on the card.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
you're not a fan
so
then?
yeah, it was tough to start off with because you know it's the opening match as well. Like you know, there's obviously going to be disappointment where the face doesn't win, but like I felt like it was more than just like the face didn't win. Do you know what I mean? I felt like WWE have been doing nothing but just shoving Liv down our throats just cause now, and it just makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt Liv is a great character, but I mean,
Yeah.
Monty, would it be fair to say she's a step behind EO to be like a kind of true all rounder?
She three. Everybody, in my opinion, is like 3, 4 steps. Well, Liv for sure is 3, 4 steps behind EO to me. I mean, especially in the ring. Like, I'm not trying to act like Liv didn't hold her own in this match. I thought she performed pretty well. I think Liv actually rises to the occasion for the most part pretty well. My problem, not even really gotten have much to do with her as much as I have a problem with just the way they decided to book this situation. Not only because I agree with you know, basically just explained about the Night of Champions booking and all of that. But in my opinion, like it didn't really. Not only did we not accomplish much in this whole situation with this outcome, I don't think that I like that. This is the because they booked themselves into a situation where I felt like Liv kind of not have to win, but it felt like she needed to because she's been champion for over 100 days, pretty much up to that point, and had not defended it. And I'm just like, if you actually booked her to defend her belt and do stuff, then you can even have even more intrigue to the to EO winning, and we wouldn't be like, oh, okay, well, it was always for Liv to win because Liv hadn't even had a defense since WrestleMania. Like, think about that. How many champions or world champions win a title at WrestleMania but don't defend it again until SummerSlam? You know what I mean? Like that's just not something that has ever really been something that we are to expect, in general. But my problem with this match got a lot more to do with booking than to have anything to do with any of the wrestling. Like I thought they did well. I thought EO, like again, EO in my opinion is the best wrestler. Like you can make an argument for a lot of other people, but I just feel like hands down, man, woman, don't matter. You can put EO's resume on a match by match basis up against anybody in the world, and I think you'll have a tough argument against EO Sky. I just think she that good. She don't really mess up at all. Like she's everything is perfect timing. She's a great baby face. She can even be a good heel. I love EO. So again, I don't think comparing Liv to EO or like thinking that Liv is better than EO was probably going to be accomplished in this situation. But I do think it was kind of surprising that even though Judgment Day came out, once we got to the finish, they did give Liv like a vote of confidence by not really letting her just screw EO. It felt, even though we had Judgment Day out there, it still felt like she got this victory done pretty clean. So, props to them, I guess, for that. Just kind of letting them wrestle and tell a good story. But yeah, overall, the booking of this whole entire situation and just the lack thereof of a women's division to realistically challenge Liv up to this point. is really the issue that we kind of have here. And then, like you mentioned, we had an opportunity to possibly build up a new star with Queen of the Ring instead of wasting that spot on her. She could have been defending her belt at Night of the Champions or defending her belt on Raw leading up to Night Champions, whatever it was. We could have just got more up under her belt leading up to this match that could have made this overall even more compelling. But yeah, I think at this point, yeah, EO is like still top of the ring in my opinion when it comes to just women in WWE. And even though she didn't win this match, I think that's why she can pretty much lose in this situation. And I think we all know that if they booked her to win the belt back or win the belt from Liv next, I'm surprised because that's how good EO is.
I think I'm back. That was my headphones,
Yeah, I hear you now.
which is always good, isn't it?
I was going to say,
Yeah.
did Monty talk
Talk about the
James
match.
to sleep?
Uh, can you hear me now, Lo?
We can.
Okay,
I hear
clearly.
you. Yeah, we
You're
hear
probably
you.
going to go
I
again.
think.
As long as you can hear me, I can't probably hear you guys, but hey, we'll work on that. Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of moments in this match here about sort of the oblivion with breathtaking, and as we see, a moonsault isn't always easy to do. And Gina, I mean, the match should probably be spoken about, but I think they did well covering the seats as well because some looked pretty full, even though when we see other pictures, it was kind of half empty.
Yeah, definitely. We see like pictures get surfaced of half empty seats, but we never know when those pictures are specifically taken. So half empty seats could have been taken when people were first arriving, or during the 3 hour kickoff or whatever. So we can't really judge it. And it did look like it was a good call out. And I think Jax even mentioned that, the crowd were loud for this opening match and chanting for EO and booing Liv. So yeah, I also mirror my sister and Monty's views. I thought the match itself was great, and I think that both Liv and EO are great, but it is frustrating when it just feels like the Queen of the Ring tournament was wasted. Like
Mm,
if you knew that you were going to have Liv ultimately win the SummerSlam match, and even though it's her first defending because she's been in the Queen of the Ring tournament, I think, and again, no offense to EO, they could have at least put somebody who hasn't been as prominently shown to elevate them a little bit more so that they could end
True.
up losing to Liv at SummerSlam. They could have done more of that, but then having the Night of Champions match for this to become a rematch and then not even get the win in the end, it feels like the whole Queen of the Ring tournament was pointless. So it's really frustrating in a way, but yeah, what happens has happened.
Jax, what would you give out of 5?
I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on it from a booking point of view. I think the wrestling was still great. I'll give it like a three and a half for the overall wrestling, but it's kind of been down marked a little bit because the overall booking it was just shoddy.
Monty?
I still enjoyed it. I give it a 4.
Yeah, for Gina?
I'll give it a 3 3/4.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 1/4. Predictions. So, in our prediction league 2026, this is before Redemption and SummerSlam. The WWE League right now, I'm on 2, Monty's on 3, Jaxie Gina on 4. And AEW, I'm on 1, Monty's 2, Jaxie 3, and Gina 4. And bonus, me and Monty on 13, Gina on 12, Jaxie on 11. We all went EO here, so we're all on 1. And then we've got Dan Spivey shown in the crowd. No? All right, we'll move on. The Usos and Jacob Fatu versus Voice, Key, Solo Sikoa, and LA Knight next. And these 6 men have been fighting several weeks, in the case of some of them, several months or even years, it feels. They're hardly going to settle things. However, all 6 of these guys are talented, so we all knew this would be solid action. Started off with a little chaos before they settled into things. Keys and Fatu took each other out of ringside with a little help from Solo. Knight was able to hit Jay with a BFT for the pin and the win. And luckily, Solo and Knight hugged it out afterwards. Monty, what were your thoughts?
I had fun with this. I thought this was a good match. I think to be honest, it was what it did what it needed to do. It was quick. It was, or not. I won't say too fast. Like wasn't long enough, but it was fast paced. I think everybody hit their spots pretty much the way you wanted them to. Everything was pretty crisp, if you ask me. Solo, in my opinion, stole the show, which I think kind of breaking down this match going into it. That was kind of like our thought process is like he was gonna be the one that we wanted to be protected and looking good in the end. And I don't know how. I think, to be honest, outside of maybe because LA Knight got the pin, I don't know who looked better in this out of the six coming out of this match than Solo, which is a great sign to me. I love that Jay and Jimmy get a chance to kind of put their little brother over. At least that's what it felt like to me. Felt like this whole match was kind of set up to make Solo look good, but also give LA Knight, a good completion to his bloodline side character story. Even though I don't want to call them side characters, but you know what I mean. They're not Roman, so it feel like LA Knight is finally going to be able to at least move on to different things, whether it's Roman or just on from this particular situation. And we still get a little bit of this Royce Keys. We still got a lot. I think Royce looked good, and I think he at least thwarted Jacob, which is like I think pretty much the reason why he was here to kind of cancel Jacob out. So yeah, I just think this was fun. It went by, nice and smooth. I don't think anybody screwed anything up. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think again, Solo looked like a star. I had fun with his spots and him just his comedic timing is just really, really great. And hopefully he get a good push coming out of this. And hopefully this means LA Knight can be taken a little bit more seriously or at least do something else. So yeah, I thought this was good.
Yeah. Bloodline had the fancy entrance, and then black faces were in red. But Gina, I mean, again, like Monty says, Solo doing the encore of Jay's music instead of Jay, it was hilarious. He's having the time of his life right now.
Yeah, he really is, and it's really showing his character when, most people's first impressions or what they got from Solo was this stoic character. They're really just seeing his personality shine through. And that's the thing, when you come from a family like Solo's, you really do need to show your personality to be seen as an individual regarding regardless of your bloodline. So it's really nice to see Solo kind of be the highlight of this match, because he really was for me as well. I pretty much mirror all of what Monty said. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, and the crowd were really into it. It kept them awake and buzzing still, so it was kind of off to a great start. And yeah, Royce really shone in this match as well. I think he's just showcasing how well he can work with others in a team as well as, work by himself. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match. It was a great one.
Yeah, I think you're right about that as well. I mean, Jaxie would agree. Keys, maybe struggled maybe at one point off the top, but he looked like a killer taking out Jacob because Jacob's been, perceived as the
Mhm.
killer, but Bloodline are a joke apparently.
Yeah, I think like this match did a few things, as you guys have rightly pointed out, tied up the story and the connection with LA Knight and the Bloodline, and hopefully sort of laid that to rest. But also we've started to really just pick up with the character of Solo, and I think this really puts him over in a way where they, had at one point sort of damaged the reputation that he had of this sort of like person that was undefeated and things like that. Like he's really built himself up and come a long way. So to see this outcome was great. And as you said, I think they did a lot of storytelling between Royce Keys and Jacob. Like I definitely felt like this was not the end of whatever is going on between them. They are former friends that only have been driven apart because of family, which is quite an interesting sort of take on things. So I'm looking forward to seeing where things progress. I think it does nothing but greatness for Royce Keys to be involved with, sort of the bloodline and Jacob Fatu, and just, keeping an eye on his character and not doing anything to sort of maybe drop the ball with Royce Keys just yet. So he's getting a really good showing. And yeah, there was like one or two sort of like things that didn't necessarily always mesh up in the match, but I think overall all six men did a great job in terms of entertainment and overall storytelling.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, so scores then, Monty. What would you give it?
3 3/4.
3 3/4. Gina
Yeah, 3 3/4 too.
and Jax.
Yeah, I think I'll give this 3 3/4 as well.
Yeah, I'll give this a 4. Um, predictions. James and Monty went Bloodline. Jax and Gina went the faces. The girls won 1. The boys are on 0. As we've got Gunter versus Nick Aldis next. And Aldis stepped into the ring for the first time in 3 years. They start with some simple chain wrestling. Gunther tried to play some mind games, but it seemed to fire up Aldis more than to annoy him. They slowed the pace down once the ring general took control and started to dominate Nick. But the most surprising thing was how good Nick looked for someone who actually hadn't wrestled for a while. He wasn't doing anything he used to do, but, you know, he didn't have as much ring rust as you would expect. He did a good job making it look like he had a chance to win towards the end, but we all knew how this would play out. Gunther got the win with the sleeper. Gina, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm coming from someone who hasn't seen Nick Aldis wrestle before. I thought this was a good match. Because I knew that from you guys and word of mouth, you know, that Nick used to be a wrestler. I thought there might be some like ring rust, but I thought he still looked good, and I think Gunther really helped with that. They had good chemistry in the ring, and Gunther was not helping Nick, but I just think, you know, the way that he was setting moves, the way he was, you know, basically working well with him for this match. I felt the animosity between them both. And ultimately, as much as I would have wanted Nick to get this win, you know, the bully be beaten down, I didn't truly believe it, especially because Nick hasn't been consistently wrestling. You know, he's been out of it for a while. So I mean, the win would have been awesome, but I ultimately didn't think he would get it. But I still think that he gave as good as he could, and I got respect for him for trying it and even getting some good licks in there on Gunther. You know, so I
Yeah.
did enjoy this, and I did find myself invested, even though I didn't think that Nick would get the win. I was still invested.
Yeah. But it's pretty, like I said, we got a low bar because it's like, if you're a fucking embarrassment. But, you know, Nick did, like we said, he did it all right. Mickey James was in the crowd to cheer her husband on with their son, who was in the ring to embrace him after the match. Jaxie, Mickey James, that's Nick Aldis's husband. I know you didn't know, but we have told you before.
No, you know what? Again, I it's always great to see Mickey James, but I'm always still constantly shocked at like in reality how short she is. Like she hardly came above like the barrier. Like it was almost just like sort of like her neck and head area where it was the only thing above there. So, you know, I was kind of like flabbergasted to see the height difference when Gunther kind of came up and then towered over her, sort of thing. But I have to agree. I think it was a great match for like Nick to showcase himself in a wrestling capacity. I think you know, like the. I feel like we already knew the reality of that, and the outcome would go in Gunther's favor, just in terms of like, you know, the sort of level of wrestling that he's been doing at the moment compared to Nick. However, it's always great to see someone stand up to a bully, and Nick had a lot of people, including the crowd, in his corner. So it was a good match.
Aldous was dressed exactly as his 2K model, so, you know, that was fun. I really enjoyed this. Monty, it's funny, Gunther either fights for the World Championship or against commentators / GMs, you know?
Until you mentioned it, I kind of forgot about Pat. So yeah, that's a great point. I guess that's kind of his thing. You know, he's either gonna beat a really old, a really tenured old former world champion, or he's gonna fight for the belt, or he's gonna fight somebody who's a commentator or, you know, official. So, huh. Anyway, yeah, I thought this was good though. You know, again, I thought it felt good. I think I was higher on the match when I watched it. I'm not saying I'm not high on it now. It's just somebody brought up some things that I didn't think about until seen till I thought about the similarities, and I was just like, don't do that because comparison is the thief of joy, man. And it's like because people were comparing it to Nigel's return match or match with with Danielson, and I'm just like, don't do that. Like, can we not just enjoy what we got? Like, this is well, first of all, it's a different company, different style of wrestling, and second of all, you know, I get that it's similarities to when Nigel, you know, came and fought, did his thing or whatever, but this is WWE, so it's going to be completely different style. They weren't going to necessarily get that much time and all of that. And I just don't think it's a fair comparison because Gunther is also a different wrestler than Danielson. But either way it go, I think much like that match when it came to Nigel, this was a feel good type of like it was it's weird because we don't get this in WWE. Like I think in AEW they do a really good job of like if somebody was real big in ROH back in the day and then they come to AEW, like they do a really good job of like talking about how great how dominant someone was in ROH or TNA or around the world. They don't necessarily shy away from it like we know WWE like to do. So, I know WWE has this partnership with TNA, so they will mention that Nigel was a TNA champion, but it's still weird to me when WWE do it because they never really go as far as they probably could to kind of put over the guy from that who got famous. Like it was an ode to a career that a lot of people who just watched WWE had no clue about. You know what I'm saying? So it was weird, but at the same time, I thought it was cool because I watched him in Impact. I knew about his time as NWA champion, kind of like briefly before he kind of stopped wrestling and all of that. So like I knew about, or Nigel. I mean, I knew about Nick, but I also know about Magnus, which I didn't like him as Magnus. So I like Nick Aldis a lot better than I like Magnus, James. You remember Magnus. But anyway, it was cool to watch him do a lot of his shtick. A lot of the moves still hit the same. I thought he looked great. I still, I love the everything looked good. It was cool because I watched the interview after this. He talked about how tired he was, and if you pay attention, you can see that he was gasping for air in the first 3 minutes. So it was cool to kind of watch him still be able to put on a pretty good match, not make any major mistakes, even though he was exhausted. And Gunther is the ultimate pro, so it was a good guy to be in there with. And I thought they told a simple but rather yet pretty good story. It wasn't as dramatic or as epic as it probably could have been, but I still thought it was a really good match, really good moments for Nick. Cool for him to do it in front, like in front of his family, and just like he had his favorite Oasis tune as his theme song. So that was really nice. So again, I'm not used to WWE showing a lot of love to people who kind of made their name outside of the WWE bubble, but I thought this was a really cool appreciation of Nick. And if he never wrestles again, I think honestly, this is what a way for him to like finish it up if he wanted, if this was it for him, because I know a dream of his was to wrestle in WWE. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a nice match and everything flowed well, and I had fun with it.
Yeah, like I said, the most AEW thing of this was WWE paying for Oasis to, you know, be the entrance song for Nick Aldis, which again is just cool. Out of 5, then Gina, what would you give it?
Yeah, it wasn't obviously what I would say a top tier wrestling match, but in terms of the story, it was gripping and I was still invested and I had respect for Nick, coming back and doing a wrestling match with Gunther. And so for that, I was invested. I'll give it a 4.
Give it a 4. Jaxie?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 3/4.
Monty?
I give it a 4.
Yeah, I'm going to give it. I gave it 4.5, so I really liked it. Some predictions all come to girls on 2, boys on 1. Fatal Influence versus Bellas and Paige next. Paige, Nikki, and Brie took on Jaxie Jane, Fallon Henley, and Lani Reed. This was Nikki's first official match back from returning from injury. Henley and Brie started for their teams, but all 6 women were fighting each other within the first couple of minutes. Ref wasn't able to watch everything, so she missed when Fatal Influence used some dirty tricks to get an advantage. Jane took out Paige for the rolling encore to get the win for her team. Afterwards, though, the Bellas turned on Paige and attacked her to turn heel and break up their alliance for good. Again, I mean, Jax, I get your thoughts on this. This might have helped if Brie Bella hadn't been injured at the same time.
I don't know. I don't know whether or not that would have made the caliber of wrestling like any more like amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like this was just again like the standard type of like tag match that we've seen sort of on the irregular Raw or SmackDown whenever Paige and Brie have decided to turn up. And yeah, I think a lot of people could also already call Brie getting injured halfway through the match. I think it was like the moment that like was it on the outskirts, like when she hit her on Jaxie hit her on through the steel stairs. I think that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it feels. Does it feel wrong to say that it feels like maybe the better twins are a little bit cursed in that sense? Because it just doesn't always seem like the right time, so to speak. But also at the same time, I'm kind of like, how much longer are we going to give more attention to legends whose bodies really can't handle it? Maybe, it's always like nice for a bit of nostalgia, but realistically, like again, this goes back to our original point we were talking about it earlier about just the underutilized women's division and like just imagining like sort of the other women that could have been in that spot who might have made the match a bit more interesting or things like that. So I mean, it's unfortunate what's happened to Brie. I really do wish her a speedy recovery. It's never great to hear a wrestler is injured. But I'm also kind of like, when do we actually stop um investing all of like the big spots, the big moments to these WWE legends and actually openly support like young talent, Um this match was just a little bit of a for me, this was a bit of a bathroom break one. I didn't really feel like I called this match straight away, towards the end of the match anyway, with what Nikki ends up doing. So yeah, I don't know. This match for me was just there, but this was one of the ones that I wasn't looking forward to the most. And I can't say that it delivered high expectations from me,
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, Montilo, Fatal Influence with another win to add to their legacy. You see, they are going to be the greatest team of all time.
I'm that's probably the biggest takeaway I got from it is just like I'm happy that they decided to not do what I'm used to them doing, which is, dedicate stuff to the nostalgia acts and just I'm glad they went along with it and just let the tag champions and the fresh faces and the team get a big victory. They obviously must be high on them as a group. For them to not only get the victory, but it also was just the right thing to do. I knew that Nikki or I knew the Bellas were going to turn on Paige. Like I knew that at some point it would happen. So like it just kind of makes sense when you think about the Bellas track record and the fact that before Bree signed back, Nikki was begging to turn heel and actually did turn heel. But if you remember, I know you guys may not care, about the Bellas much, but like she literally had to flip face when Bree showed up in the Royal Rumble and try to act like, oh yeah, we're good, we're here and we're good guys, yay. So I knew the heel turn was gonna happen eventually. So not that didn't really shock nobody or whatever. So it is what it is. But yeah, I do think the crux of what was just like you just mentioned, Jackson, that like about leaning on the past. We've been talking about that in WWE. I know me and James in particular, like especially since we get to watch so many hopefuls and NXT people coming up are supposed to be getting called up to be that present. We've been talking about this for a long time, pretty much probably all 300 something episodes I've been here, Jay. That when is WWE gonna finally lean on the faces of the future, whether it's women or men? When are they gonna finally start to invest and get these positions to them? And sometimes it feel like we finally heading that way, and then they take a couple steps forward, and then they take a couple steps, 3, 4 steps back. You know what I mean? And so I feel like this match itself wasn't bad. It wasn't offensive to the eye or anything. I didn't, but at the same time, I do think that hopefully the result is a sign that in the future these spots will be for people who need to, make a name instead of the people that we know a name. But to be honest, you guys know TKO is about selling tickets, and I really believe that the only reason why this match is even here because if you really think about the build, this wasn't the most compelling build or anything. So the only argument you have for why this match was here was that the Bella Twins sell tickets. Same thing with Paige and like their name value. Like I know people may not like the Bella Twins, but like I always mention, it's a lot of people for some reason who only watch wrestling because they watch Total Divas and they fell in love with the Bella Twins. So I do think they were trying to bank off that. But I do think at some point, especially when you see that their bodies can't necessarily hold up, which again, that's not I don't really want to be too hard on them about that because you don't know. I mean, you want to make a comeback, you want to get in the ring, but we see young people go down with injuries, but of course, when you take years off from taking bumps to get in the ring, the injury chance is just going to go up even higher. So I really hate that it seems like their run so far this little last run for them has been kind of riddled with these serious injuries. But sometimes it go like that. But anyway, to not spend so much time on a match that wasn't really the most important match, I do think at the end of the day it was good to see Fatal Attraction win the whole entire thing, and we'll see where this leads to when it comes to like what they're gonna do with Paige and Nikki, because we know Brie won't be around out with with the severity of her injury.
Yeah, without a doubt. Regina, not much to add there. So, I mean, any thoughts and what's your score at 5 starts off?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much to add. I think that the heel turn from Brie whilst being injured is diabolical. Just yeah, I don't know. It didn't wow me, and I was a fan of the Bella Twins. I still am kind of, but of them just personally rather than actually as wrestlers. Yeah, I don't really have much to add to this. I hope that Fatal Influence can continue on and continue to have a good tag run in their own right after this. And we'll just see what the Bellas and Paige can give us next, I guess. My score is probably going to be a 3 1/4.
Yeah, in a quarter. Yeah, remember when Bellas came back and everybody was like, no, no, it'll be fine. And who was right about that, eh? Jaxie, what would you give it?
Mm, yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit being a bit harsh, but I wasn't really impressed with this match, so I give it a 3.
Monty?
3.5 for Fallon Henley.
I gave it 3.5 as well. Predictions, everybody went Bellas apart from me. I called it on the live kickoff. So Monty on 1, the rest are on 2. Up next, Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk for the undisputed WWE Championship. Both men wore special gear that had different meanings and both received warm welcomes from the crowd. As soon as the bell rang, they got into it. They didn't try to ease into things and picked up the pace immediately. Once Rhodes looked like he may have injured his arm, Punk started to focus on it to set up his submission finisher. Towards the end, Punk tried to hit an elbow drop from the top turnbuckle to put Cody through the announce table, but Rhodes moved and Punk crashed and burned. Rhodes accidentally took out the ref. Both men hit their finishers, but there was nobody to make the count. Randy Orton came out of the crowd and hit the American Knight with an RKO out of nowhere before making a quick exit. Punk didn't see what happened, so when he got back in the ring, he hit a GTS for the win. Monty, what were your thoughts?
The match was cool. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought the psychology of the match, like working limbs and all of that, was probably some of the best parts of it, and just kind of how we got to where we got, and them trying to one up themselves as the match kind of started to build. But I do think it wasn't a perfect match. It wasn't the most crisp wrestling at all times and all of that either. But I do think the intensity was there. I do think it was at least an air of we didn't necessarily know how this was going to turn out. At least that's what it felt like when you watched it back and with the crowd. Like it felt like the crowd didn't know exactly where we were going. I do think after as the match kind of continued on, I was just sitting back waiting. Okay, so what's gonna happen? Like, what's the crux? Like, what's gonna be the story beat moment from this match? And then, like you said, here comes Randy Orton, and I don't know how I feel about it since I haven't seen him since WrestleMania, and the last time I seen him, he punted Cody. So it's like I don't know what the beef is necessarily. Still, I'm not saying they can't have problems. Maybe the beef can just be that Cody beat him and that's it. But still, I did think it was a little bit okay. Well, I'm not mad to see Randy. It's always great to see Randy, but to use him like this and like to not let Cody lose cleanly. And I'm not saying I'm surprised because I think that's just pretty much the trope until they decide to pull the trigger and turn Cody. He's probably gonna fall short like this. I do think Cody is more compelling on the hunt. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know if to watch him lose like this, if that left me feeling any type of way when it comes to his character. It is interesting to see what they decide to do because I don't know how many times post SummerSlam now in the last few years that Cody has not been world champion. So it would be interesting to see what that means and what he's gonna do and what character turns, if any, it will take. But I'm excited that Punk is still champion because I do think that's fresh. And as far as the SmackDown goes, it'd be nice to see, what it looks like as we, figure out who his contenders may be going forward. So yeah, I didn't mind the match. I thought it was good. Also, he saved after in the post show, he saved that ugly moonsault by explaining who it was owed to. Now, I wouldn't say he saved it because it's still ugly, like even by like funk standards, because I think it was an ode to, I think he said it was an ode to Dory Funk or whatever. So like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like Funk's moonsault was the most beautiful moonsault when he did it, but it was better than what Punk did. And not to mention that he almost decapitated Cody, but still. I was entertained by the match. I'm kind of biased because I love Punk and I also like Cody's style. Even if I think they probably could have did, I think they actually could have gave us even better match. But I do think they were trying their best to make this the most epic match they could. But I thought it was still a good match. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, Gina, this is the thing. I mean, this is the first match, but probably the first of a couple they're going to have because, like I said, we've got a lot of stories, but you probably still say Cody and Punk are the biggest stars on SmackDown, so they will meet again, even with the shenanigans.
Yeah, definitely. I think even by having Randy involve himself here, it kind of keeps the storyline still open in a way for Cody and Punk to revisit this at some point. I think they maybe didn't want to do a clean finish and just between them two here because they did want to continue this feud between them both. But they also didn't want Punk to win cleanly, or they didn't want Cody to win it from Punk straight away. So Randy, or just even involving someone, would have been a better bet for them to then continue the feud on at some point in the future. I see it. I do agree with most of what Monty said. I did enjoy the match. I think the tomfoolery with the ref kind of being knocked out did give that uncertainty of, oh, who's going to get this win? Who's going to turn heel? Who's going to do something bad? Or is someone going to show up? So I always love that element of the surprise of the match. And I think it worked of matches. And I think it worked well within this match. So yeah, it was entertaining. And I think I didn't have high expectations for this match because I felt like I'd seen Cody and Punk before, and because I didn't have those expectations, I enjoyed it much more, I think.
Yeah, about that. I mean, the effort was definitely there. And Jaxie, I mean, we basically covered the match, but talk about CM Punk. He's done everything since returning. Do you know what I mean? That Survivor Series a couple of years ago, and now WrestleMania main event and walking out SummerSlam with WWE champion. I never thought it would be like this, and probably more popular than Cody in some aspects.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it is weird because like I say this, but like it is double standards. But like it's not like Punk has been shoved in our face as of late. And what I mean by that is because he took some time away, I think there's a lot of popularity upon his return and what he's accomplished since his return. So like there's a lot of hype behind him at the moment. That I think both wrestlers are great, but this sort of story building and storytelling they're doing, I didn't think about this, and this makes total sense with bringing Randy back into the picture and actually having him sort of like cost this match for Cody. It makes me even more intrigued to wait and see like what's to come between these two now. So, and it's great to see Randy back. So it'll be nice and interesting to see where things go for him. I just kind of I'm kind of hoping that we're gonna get like some like fresh new faces that are going to be taking on Punk, and or that's what I'd like to think. I'd like to hope at this point, because I think I'm getting pretty fed up. I'm fatigued with him facing the same people.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Right, so out of 5, then Monty, what would you give it?
I give it 4.25. I liked it.
4.25. Gina?
Yeah, I'll also give this a 4.25.
4.25. Jaxie?
Well, and of course, there's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give this 4.5 predictions. We went Punks and Monty's on 2. The rest are on 3. And then the Hell in a Cell structure was lowered from the ceiling for the main event, the evening between Lesnar and Obafemi. Both men had a victory over the other heading into this bout, so this was the rubber match to end the feud, hopefully. It took an unusually long time for the cage to lower all the way to the ground. Both men circled each other as they wait for the ref to call for the bell. Once the match was underway, Femi cornered Lesnar and started beating him. Once the Beast Incarnate managed to avoid Femi, he started taking him to Suplex City, but the ruler brushed off 3 German suplexes like it was nothing. They fought in and around the ring, used weapons, and took some big bumps in an attempt to make it exciting. Lesnar delivered 3 F5s in a row, but it wasn't enough to keep Oba down for the pin. He started to rip up the mat and expose the wooden boards beneath the thin padding. Instead of another F5, though, he hit a tombstone pile driver, but it still wasn't enough. Oba hit the fall from Grace and got the win. And afterwards, Lesnar embraced Femi, held up his hand in victory, asked for the mic, and called the ruler the future of WWE. Gina, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm biased when saying this because I'm a huge Oba fan, but I just really enjoyed this match and I thought it was great to see that respect at the end from Brock past to Oba and him confirm it by even saying it on the mic, you know. I did enjoy it. I did think that they needed to really give a good ending to this story of two Goliaths just going at each other like this. And I thought it was good to do it in a cage match as well because it added that extra element, I guess, with the stakes at hand. But yeah, I thought it was really good. Oba looked great. Brock, respectively, took the L, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. So yeah, I enjoyed this match, and it was a great one for me.
Yeah, I mean, Jaxie, like I said, Femi was more, fans were more into Oba than they were Brock Lesnar, which was good to see. But I didn't think it needed to be a Hell in a Cell match. Do you know what I mean? Like, they didn't use the cell enough, but
Mm.
that's the minor
I
complaint.
think, yeah, I think that was the one thing I did point out was I thought or presumed that they would make use of the cell a lot more throughout the match. We can't say that they didn't, go all out in terms of the way they wanted to kind of wow the crowd with their powerhouse moves. But yeah, there was like a certain what's the word I'm looking for? Tame. There was something tame about the match, considering it was being held in a Hell in a Cell. But I'm not disappointed with the outcome at all. I think this is exactly the way it needed to go. There was like a few great spots that I saw sort of like great support coming from Brock. The way he took the move in itself to really sell how hard hitting Obafemi is, to kind of like just sort of like a spatial awareness when doing things, especially on the outside of the ring. But again, it was on the outside of the ring. It wasn't much to do with the cell. But I'm not disappointed. I'm glad that this was sort of like the final outcome, and I kind of really hope that this also means that Oba can now focus on being the King of the Ring winner and choosing who he is going to challenge.
No, I completely agree with that. I think this is the thing, Monty, isn't it? If Oba has to be champion at WrestleMania, even if it's walking in or walking out, I think that's all that matters now. And as we've talked about, Brock put Oba as much as I've ever seen Brock put someone over before.
Yeah, that was by far the best part of the whole situation was that old ending, and they don't script anything Brock said. So, allegedly a lot of that stuff was just what Brock came back and wanted to say. So, that was pretty cool. That again, he's been so impressed, or at least even if he's not impressed, he at least acting like he's so impressed by Oba, to where he's doing a good job of letting Oba take over and be the next guy. Because we kind of, whether people want to admit it or not, like a few times, pretty much since Roman pretty much became pretty much everything since post pandemic to me has felt like they wanted to kind of give Brock a walk into the sunset guy, whether it was Drew McIntyre, whether it was the stuff with Bobby Lashley, whatever it was, I felt like they wanted to do it, but whether it was Brock not believing in it or whether they didn't truly think that the next guy was that guy, it didn't work out. It didn't go that way. But it feel like finally now with Obafemi and just with the way he kind of presents himself, I don't think anybody fits the next big thing moniker that Brock had, more than Oba. And I think it's like such an easy thing to do, in my opinion. An easy thing to see that he's gonna be the guy that that WWE can be printing money over for years to come. That I think even Brock know that, you know what, yeah, this makes sense. I can go ahead and I can stop doing this, and this guy can take over. And I think again, the one thing about pro wrestling that is cool is when that happens, when you can actually get. Most of the time, guys just retire, and it is what it is, and we never know who's gonna fill that void in that regard. But like in this case, to kind of have him be able to do that job and kind of be put over Femi, I think is the best thing to take away from it. Whether like Brock or not, I think again, I know it was nobody like Brock. Like when I started watching wrestling and started watching him, it was nobody like him. And the fact that we kind of can get a situation where now similarly kids and newcomers to wrestling can see Obafemi and get that same feeling. I think that's kind of cool that Brock was able to just tell him that he the future and he the past, and what better way to kind of put it than that, to let you know that this is pretty much it. But other than that, like you mentioned, I don't really got anything to add. They made it epic. I love the tombstone spot. I love it was like an ode to Undertaker and like how Brock beat Undertaker and all of that, and like making Oba kind of kick out of that. Although I do think the match kind of ended too fast after that, but who knows? They probably running low on time. It was what it was. But and also I agree, the sale pretty useless. But again, if you remember, Brock does have a pretty decent legacy when it comes to Hell in the Cell matches, because I do remember him beating the Undertaker and doing different things in the cell. So I kind of understand why I was there, but it wasn't really necessary. Either way it go, Obafemi walking tall, ending the show, looking like the guy going forward. Even let's say you're a casual, you don't watch wrestling all the time, but you know Brock Lesnar, and you see they end the show with a guy like Obafemi. Like I think he probably made a whole bunch of new fans too, outside of us who already know that he's gonna be great. So, from that standpoint, I think it's awesome that he finished the show and was able to stand tall at the end. Even though I'm not gonna act like I care too much about this style of match, but that's been Brock's style of match for the longest.
Yeah, yeah. There's a nice shout out to Taz as well. Right, scores then, Gina. What would you give it?
Yeah, I enjoyed this one, so I'll give this one a 4.5.
4.5. Jaxie.
Yeah, this one gets a 4 3/4.
Oh wow. Monty.
Yeah, I give it a 4.
And I gave it a 4 as well. Predictions, we went over. So the final scores, Monty's on 3, Jaxie, James, and Gina all on 4. Wow. So we all got the win for the first night, apart from Monty, of course, and I'm not really used to it. WWE League Len, I joined Monty on 3, Jaxie and Gina on 5. Night 1, rating, match, and MVP. Jaxie, I'll start with you. So your match is Oba versus Brock. What would you give the first night out of 10, and who's your MVP?
I think out of 10, like overall, like it had solid booking. There was some decent wrestling. I'll give it a 7 3/4 altogether. MVP got go to Oba.
7 3/4. Monty, same question to you.
Oh man, MVP Solo. Even though he wasn't there, I think he made me. I enjoyed, even though it wasn't that long. I give him some love here because I think I know who the MVP gonna be for most of y'all. I'd be surprised if it's different. But overall, I think I'll give the show an 8. It flowed well. There's pretty much only one thing on the show that you can be like, was this really SummerSlam worthy? Everything else was, pretty good. Even if you didn't agree with how things went or the booking get going leading up to it. So, yeah, I think it was pretty good. So I probably give it an 8.
Yeah, and your match, with Cody and Punk as well. Gina, what
Yeah,
about you?
that's my bad.
Yeah, I think mine's will be obvious that my match is Oba and Brock. I'll give MVP to Oba as well, but I will give a shout out to Solo because he was just the star of his match. And overall score, yeah, I'll give it a 7.5.
7.5. Yeah, match for me was Punk and Cody. MVP was Oba, and I gave it a 9. But I was really, really out of it on Saturday night and enjoyed the company. Not only was still, having, but elsewhere as well. Weirdly, much better watching live than on a rewatch as well. But like we talk about post show, Joe Tess, Big E, Corey, and Pete. They talk about the passing of the torch to Oba. We've got an interview with him as well. The future is him. And he didn't see the hug from Brock coming, and he says respect works both ways. They're calling it legacy defining, Jaxie. So this is a new thing now. So this victory that Oba had over Brock is legacy defining. So I guess that's what we call big matches.
You know, when you look at sort of some of the past accomplishments Brock had managed to achieve, you know, the main one I think kind of being, you know, defeating Undertaker's streak, and things like that. I guess overall you can kind of look at it in a way of this is like legendary, that there's not really been one person that's put Brock down twice in a row. Well, not in a row, but you know what I mean, like within the same feud and actually come out on top of it. It's usually Brock winning all of his feuds. And if not, he goes kind of away for a bit, sulks and comes back. This kind of feels finite. So I guess this is why they're kind of calling it legendary in that sense. But you know, this is definitely the start of something. And if they continue to book Oprah right, this could be the very start of his legacy building of his own for his own career. So maybe this also kind of gives you a bit of insight as to maybe potentially what WWE are thinking. Maybe they are all in agreement as well and feel like, you know, this could potentially be like, you know, the next legend in the making. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he calls himself Destiny's son. Liv Morgan joined the panel and says she's the greatest champion of all time. She says she's iconic. She's had 0 defenses in 100 days and said no one stepped up. Nick Aldis was interviewed. He's interrupted by Triple H. Nick says he's resigning, but Triple H said it's settled. He's proud of him and he doesn't accept Nick leaving, so he's reinstated as SmackDown GM, and he tells him to call things down the middle. So there we go, Monty. I mean, Aldis is back as GM, and I guess that's his in-ring career done then, you know. Back to
right. But they got this out the way, you know. won't even let you wonder about his future. Like, nope, he's gonna just go right back to work, guys. This was just a small little moment in his career.
Gunther joined the panel. He tells Aldis to make him number one contender. It looked like he was really enjoying himself. CM Punk hobbled out next. He loves the fans. Punk wasn't happy he didn't main event. He said he hasn't got it in his contract. He would slap Randy's mum, and he is not a pussy. Punk was on one on this post show. I don't know what it was. He told Sammy not to repeat what he did 15 years ago as well. We then went to a Triple H press conference. It's been a while. He talks all this Oasis song rights, and he said he's proud of both. He says never say never again if Nick wrestles. He mentions 35K, but there was no official attendance announced. Brock is in the past, but he does what he wants. He says Oba is the future. He said placement on the card doesn't matter for the talent. That's why he started with EO versus Liv. Now, Gina, he obviously didn't hear what CM Punk said when Punk was... I mean, this was like... I'm not saying, you know, post show of All Out CM Punk, but this was a Punk that thought he was going to main event, I guess, until later on in the day, and he wasn't happy. And Triple H going, no, they don't care about it. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it didn't really make sense, did it? So just showed that it just felt like he just didn't have a care for it. So, and how Punk felt about it.
Yeah, but I do like Punk, the fact that he does get pissy still. And the narrative of someone's turn doesn't work as well. If someone is over, we will change spots, you know, unless they make a mistake, you know.
Sure.
But
99.
This is it. I'm glad we're talking about this because 99% the person gets over and then they get given a story. Otherwise, they will choke. So, I mean, Gina, again, I'll give you this. So, a character then has to get over first, and then it's a storyline that helps them as opposed to anything else. So, someone like Otis, who's over, I guess he's just waiting for the right storyline or something.
Well, I guess he'll be waiting a long time, to be honest, because I think they've feel like they've been there and done that, and Otis is just going to stick at the same spot he's in. I'm not really sure what sort of storyline that they could put in place for him now or in the future, unless they're going to have him pull one over on Austin Theory, which I really don't see happening. So it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, and so Jaxie, just in case you wonder if they're going to put new talent, no, they won't, because no one's not as over. You know, you've got to be more over than Roman, more over than Cody, more over than
Yep.
Punk, EO, you
Yep.
know, Rhea. And if you're not, you
I
know,
wouldn't even say EO at this point. I put Liv right now because apparently they can only focus, single-handedly. So yeah, this is no shocker, no surprise to me.
well, it's interesting that they're finally admitting it. Brie Bella is injured and out. Back to the panel, Oba joins. He said he feels amazing. He says he's the man. He's not hard to find, but hard to beat. Oba did say one thing. Again, Punk was firing a lot of shots, and he said he'd, with Oba Femi, he'll take him on. And Femi said he is not affected by pipe bombs. And even that, I was like, yeah, give me Oba Femi versus CM Punk. He's only been at WWE 3 years. He said pressure breaks men, but pressure also makes diamonds. August 2nd, night 2, kickoff Joe Test, Big E, Graves, and Smarksburg. We've got a recap of night 1. Jackie, Kathy, and Byron around and about. Sit down, Seth. Apparently, Seth hit Roman with a chair. Does anybody know what that's about? They were talking about it, and I wasn't. Is there history with Seth, Roman, and a chair?
When? My God.
Yeah. You sure it was Self? I
I
thought it was that other guy, that Ambrose. No, maybe it was Self. I don't
The one
know. I
the
don't
one
know.
that they don't bring up ever, because his name is blasphemy.
Yeah, well, anyway, Zayn had a lot to say about what Punk said. He said he's running scared. Darius Rucker joined the panel. He sang the anthem later. He is not related to any of the McMahons. Cole sat down with Reigns. We then had a lookalike competition. Then we had mini Housens and ice creams. And then the Miz is back to normal. I mean, in both ways, he's not electrocuted and he's not wrestling. So, again, poor Miz. Aldis thanked the fans. We've got top 10 SummerSlam moments. Number 1 was Brock and the Tractor. And then the main show, I started wondering, why did Triple H start the show? And then Rhea Ripley made her entrance. And I thought, I fucking missed all this Sunday. And then I realised I was watching 2025 SummerSlam, which is not good for me, but I was just like, wow. But anyway, switch to night 2, 2026, and Finn Balor makes his entrance. That's better. We got Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, but SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis added Gunter to this match. Jaxie, you were pissed at this point. You were like, what the fuck they're doing, man?
That
You
was
got a
no
fucking
seriously,
clue.
James. Let me get this off my chest again a minute, right? Because I'm still wound the fuck up by this. You get reinstated after, as GM, and you get like a general manager. Don't get me wrong. I know booking wise that this was good for Gunther, but as a general manager, as someone who just kicked your ass less than 24 hours before, why the Ross Claw are you actually allowing Gunther to get into this match? It bothers me still.
Because Nick Aldis is calling it down the middle, giving
That's
Gunther
not
a
calling
title
it down the
shot.
middle. The man already had a match the night before.
So you're in Gunther's camp then, of Gunther got screwed?
No, what I'm trying
No.
to say is there was absolutely no reason to actually put him in this match when he already had a match on night 1. He did not need to be added to this. I don't know why it
It's
was
Nick Aldis being fair and
it just
impartial.
bugged me.
It's
It
Nick
just
Aldis
bugged
being
me.
fair and impartial, him
How
putting
is
him in a
that
match.
being fair or impartial? Just
He could
leave
have
the
just
match
left
as
the match
it
as
is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it doesn't, because then he gives up Gunther a chance and then screws him at the same time. You see?
Yes, that is the case. But in all fairness, what I would have done is just left him off of it and just made it a triple threat. That being said, I like how, he thought he was so special that he was being added that then this next surprise came after and he was not expecting that, nor was he pleased. So, you win some, you lose some.
Well, then Nick announced another man to the match, the returning Kevin Owens. The prize fighter outlasted Gunther and the previous announced Balor and Zayn, dropping his longtime frenemy with a stunner to secure a shot at CM Punk's undisputed WWE Championship. Again, this was so good, I cannot do it justice. So just go and watch it. What a way to start SummerSlam. Monty, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gunther's on that list. I don't know how over You guys can tell me how over you think Gunther is. I think he's been very over, but I think Gunther don't have to work hard to get a storyline, guys. Gunther's gonna get matches. He's gonna get a storyline. And Triple H love him some Gunther. That's what this felt like to me when it came to seeing Gunther out there. But he also loves Kevin Owens, so it was great to see Kevin back. Again, I had seen him popping up throughout the week, but to be fair, we saw him randomly popping up at like an NXT NXT barbecue, just talking randomly about NXT matches the weeks before this. So who knew, James, that we could have had the scoop. We could have known that Kevin was probably in the performance center getting ready for this return match when he was randomly talking about Great American Bash a few weeks back. Because I had no clue why he was there. But anyway, good to see Kevin back. Again, like you said, I thought, and he came out there and he just does what he does. Like it remind me of when Will Ospreay was talking about, oh man, I don't know how many more bumps I can take, and oh man, I don't think I can do this anymore. And then literally he goes out there and almost kills himself as soon as he returns back to AEW, getting dropped on his head. And the same thing goes for Kevin Owens, as someone who we know just had a serious neck injury, doing swanton bombs outside the ring onto people and just throwing his body everywhere, as we know Kevin has done throughout his career. He's one of the greats, and I thought this match, like you mentioned, was paced well. It flowed. It was really, really fast. But again, we had four of the best in the world, literally, in the ring doing their thing. So I mean, I don't think you can find much flaws in this match. And even though I felt like once Kevin kind of got unveiled, we all felt like, oh yeah, this is Kevin's to lose. They even peppered in some moments that felt like Finn or even Sammy could have, or Gunther. I feel like each man had a moment where you can be like, oh, I thought he almost won it. So I do think they did do a good job of still making this compelling. And anytime Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are in the ring together, whether they're opponents, whether they're friends, whatever it is, they make it compelling and make it great. And I thought having it finish off the way they did it, even their hug before we even got to the finish and all that was really, really cool too. So yeah, I don't know how you can hate on this match at all. It was a great surprise factor, great wrestling, just great everything.
Yeah, like you said, though, Kevin Owens is so random. But anyway, yeah, Sami Zayn's mouth was open for 3 minutes during KO's entrance, which again, Sammy, I just love, yeah, even, people upset about Gunther being involved. These four guys in the ring were absolutely brilliant. Gina, it just didn't feel like a WWE match. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, even the shock announcements and stuff, it was just a great way to start Sunday night.
Yeah, it really was. I was a little bit annoyed at the Gunther announcement, but I think it got saved with the KO reveal and the KO announcement. So my annoyance went out the window, and I was able to pretty much just enjoy KO's return and the match. It was very comical to see Sammy's response to KO. It was brilliant. It's just like one of those, karmic moments that comes to light, and you're just like, good. Someone's about to come lick on you, Sammy. You've been needing it. So it was a really feel good moment, but I also enjoyed it. I was a bit bummed for Finn because I am an advocate for Finn to be a champion again one day. I really feel like he deserves it and should be up there. So I did go into this match hoping it was Finn's time again, and they were going to start to put him back up there. But I'm also not mad at the revelation of Kevin Owens coming back and then him getting this.
Yeah, like I said, the long journey of Balor going back to the top still continues. But Jaxie, as Monty and Gina both say, it is great to have Kevin Owens back. He's been out since the Chamber last year, and as we saw, he didn't take it easy.
Yeah, no, he was like, no, if I'm coming back, I'm just going to come back 100%, and just kill it. So I don't really have much to agree. It really was great to kind of see him return. I was not expecting this in the slightest. And it just it works. I can't help but also agree with what my sister said. I just felt a bit bad for Finn. I also felt bad for Sammy in this match because I was like, okay, he's getting doubly screwed over. This was meant to be his potential, shot to be able to get a one-on-one match after CM Punk, had taken his belt, just to kind of really get screwed over, but with two other guys being added. kind of lessened his chances like even more so after that. So I did feel for him in that regard, but not as much as I felt for Finn. Like I still feel like Finn deserves a run at some point, but I can't say that I'm mad with Kevin Owens being the overall winner here.
Yeah. All right. So scores then, Monty. What would you give it?
It felt, James, it felt like the old Triple H NXT booking. Like it felt takeover-ish, So I give it 4.5. It was really good.
Gina
Yeah, I'll give this a 4.25.
and Jax.
Oh, I gave this a 4.5 as well.
Yeah, I gave it 4.75. After coming off the high of night one and then going into this, I was like, WWE back, man. But again, little did I know, predictions were all wrong, all on zero, and we got the United States Championship next. Trick Williams versus Baron Corbin. Little Yachty proved to be Williams' downfalls. Corbin capitalized on the distraction from the rapper's bump through a table at ringside, blasting Williams with the fluffy United States Championship and finishing him off with the end of days. Gina, what were your thoughts on this? Is victory netted Corbin's first US title since 2017, but how many people actually care about that?
Oh God, I was hoping you'd go to Monty first or something. I don't want to sound like I'm always negative, and I don't want to rain on Corbyn's parade, but I just feel like it was the wrong choice. If anything, maybe, have Baron feel like he felt, that the match was unjustice or something, and he get a rematch and win it again off him or something. But I felt like Trick should have maybe still retained here, and had just a slightly longer run as the champ and just solidified like him being a top dog. I also felt like the Baron Corbin return came out of nowhere, and it didn't really build up the beef enough for me to actually believe that he could have taken it off of him. So I think that's another reason why I was shocked at the actual sudden title change here. I mean, I'm happy for Baron because that's a really positive comeback to the company that anyone would want. Um, I just don't really know if people care enough that he's the champ now.
Yeah. Like, who asked for Baron Corbin to make a comeback, But to be fair, Jaxie, the crowd did go mild for Corbin, who has got a fluffy championship now, which I find hilarious.
Yeah, like I don't know. Wrong call, WWE. Like you just
Game over,
no,
man.
but
Game over.
seriously, you just introduced the fluffy US belt, and then you have Baron Corbin win it. First of all, he looked ridiculous holding the fluffy belt. He looked absolutely ridiculous. But secondly, I just with the lack of build up, like this to me, you have Trick lose it like that. And again, I mean, in my opinion, I never thought too highly of Baron Corbin or his wrestling. So to Baron Corbin of all people, like this to me, poor choice here, WWE, just poor choice on my half.
Well, only one man is kicked out of the end of days, and of course that's my boy Drew McIntyre. Monty, I've got nothing else to really add to this. I just wanted to point out Drew McIntyre kicked out of end of days,
Just couldn't do a show without mentioning his name, huh? Just couldn't do it. He ain't been nowhere to be found, but we still need a Drew mention. Either way it go, I don't know. I don't really. I'm just. I'm not even mad or shocked. Like I think that's what made me. I think that's what I'm frustrated with the most. I'm frustrated with is that I saw it. Like I literally was just like, "Yep, in the day's victory," because that's such a Vince thing to do. Like when Vince was booking, you knew he was Baron Corbin was gonna shockingly beat the newer babyface like champion. Like that's the type of booking that always happens. I was hoping that we were, kind of past that. And as much as I want to talk about Vince, say what you want, but like who was Baron Corbin original project, James?
Yeah,
That's
no,
Triple H guy.
he was breaking ground. He was through NXT. He was the next big thing at one point.
Yeah,
Until
that's Triple H's guy. Exactly. That's my point. So I'm just like, I know he got more popular and way better wrestlers that are known as Triple H favorites, like Rhea and Io, and like I mentioned, Kevin Owens, Sammy, stuff like that. But Baron Corbin was also a list of those NXT guys that if you've been watching for the longest time, WWE was high on him, and like really when he got to the old man is when they started to ruin him. Now, my thing is, do you honestly believe there's anything you can do to make us believe in Baron Corbin, that character? Like, do you think that character is dead, or do you think there's anything you can do as a booker to make us feel like Baron Corbin should start getting back to that when people thought when he first showed up, future world champion? Because James, you said that, didn't you think, James? Didn't you think Baron Corbin was the future world champion, James?
Yeah, but I did say that in 2016, 17. I just watched Breaking Ground on the network, and I was like, this young whippersnapper. I didn't know he was going to become
I'm
Baron
not.
Corbin. You know, he looked like
I
Charlotte
am
Hill back
doing
then.
this.
That's what
I'm
saying.
just going to answer this question for you now, Monty. No, I, I'll never see him in a serious title picture. I think that the WWE just did too much that ruined like the character of Baron Corbin.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think that is even any fault of Baron Corbin's. I think what it would have been best is if he showed up in a different promotion and actually worked on his character there, because of a lot of people maybe would have associated him differently if he then came back after making himself elsewhere. But no, he's
Like
like,
Big
there's just
Bill.
too much.
Yeah.
And to be honest
I was
with
about to say,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Big Bill. Yeah, I'm not
you,
sure. I'm not sure Bishop Dwyer. I don't know what Bishop Dwyer did on the Indies. I'm not gonna lie, James. You're gonna have to fill me in
Oh,
on
MLW
what he
run, man,
did.
was legendary.
Yeah,
Him and Karrion
MLW.
Cross.
Oh,
Oh,
oh yeah,
oh,
him
wow.
carrying cross. Oh yeah, but he also, yeah. You know what? Good point.
Oh,
I
they would have got
forgot.
the good wrestlers there. They got Matt Riddle as well, haven't they? Like, you know, all the top tier.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, that's a great point. Great point. But anyway, anyway, uh, Baron Corbin as U.S. champion. I think we all. Like, I don't really have much to add. I mean, we all don't think this is the right move. I don't really know why you decide to do that, but I'm not really surprised because WWE does this sometimes, and it makes no sense. The only thing I can hope is that this opened up a door for Melo to get back in the picture. Because I do when I see Baron Corbin win this thing, I am kind of annoyed that this could have been like a Ilya Dragunov or a Carmelo Hayes in this spot. Whether they the champion, but they could be in fighting trick in this situation. Whether they won or not, I would have definitely appreciated that a lot more than us just trying to reheat old lunch, with Baron Corbin. But
Yeah.
whatever, I guess I'll give him a chance.
But I think that's the thing. I think, either you have Corbin, I don't want to say go on a run with your style, but, drop it to Melo and then bring those guys in, and Trick moves on to WWE Championship, or Trick wins it back pretty soon, So we'll see what happens. Scores out of 5. Gina, what would you give it?
A 3.5.
It's not too bad. Jaxie?
Hmm. I didn't like this match. I'm giving it a 2.2 and a half. 2.5. That's all I can give it.
Monty?
I thought my 3.25 was gonna be hard.
Predictions, we went Trick all or nothing still. We're so good at predictions. I'm just bringing everybody down with me. Interim WWE Women's Ladder match next. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill versus Lash Legend versus Chelsea Green versus Charlotte. The Hot Mess looked to have the title won early in the bout, but Cargill's baddies, Me Chin and B-Fab interfered on behalf of the associate, left her hanging upside down on the rungs of a ladder. Cargill dumped Stratton and Legend off one ladder and then joined Flair on another. They fought hard and furiously, tipping their own over and sending themselves out of the ring. Green sat up, scaled the ladder, and retrieved the championship, paying off a long and arduous journey. Jaxie, what did you think of this?
I thought this match had like some really good moments in it. There was like quite a few different highlights for me where, Lash looked really good, very strong. There was a moment with her and Tiffany. Tiffany, are you okay? Because she took a lot of she took a brunt of it during that ladder match. Not only did she have that spot with Lash in the corner, where she was like choke slammed onto ladders, which looked incredibly painful as hell, but then she had that big spot where I can't remember who it was. It might have been Chelsea Green, like had sort of pushed her on the ladder over the top rope. They had the best 3 women with Lash, Charlotte, and Jade there. They made an epic save, which really would have done a lot of damage to Tiffany had she fallen like in a difficult or weird
It would
angle.
have killed her.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I do think that Like I have to commend all women. There were some dangerous spots here, and they all took it like warriors and were able to showcase themselves really well. They told this story. I'm pretty sure that my parents are still really angry at us because at one point we kind of forgot at the time and was just like screaming, "Get up, Chelsea! Get up!" You know, that sort of thing. But like, it was a feel good moment to see Chelsea finally pick up that victory. I think everyone was just like looking at what's his name and just thinking like, "Suck it." Chelsea's kind of made it. So I felt like this ended on like a really good note, positive note. I think that Chelsea really deserves this, and I was really pleased for her.
Yeah, I mean, again, Monty, it's a moment. I mean, she's interim champion. Make that of what you will. But again, Chelsea Green to reach the top of the
I hate
mountain.
it.
It's a really lovely moment.
Oh yeah, I don't hate Chelsea, but I hate that interim. I hate that damn interim title. Jesus Christ, I hated it in when I watched MMA. I hated it then. I don't really like it. I just don't like it. At least in the MMA, you hope that it still ended up you fight once you won the interim title, they would fight the other champion like in their very next fight. You had breaks, but in this situation, this is wrestling. We don't have breaks, so I just strip her, man. Just strip Rhea. I've been saying it from the beginning, but anyway, uh, the match itself, though, I thought, like you said, was put together nicely. I think, like you said, the ladies. What I learned too, because I've not only have I been in a wrestling ring before, and I've felt it myself when it came to the to a ladder, but I just seen people talk about their recent. Like I think even Dragon Lee was talking about a ladder match he had, first ladder match he had ended up being how he couldn't believe that the ladders weren't gimmicked, like that there wasn't no way, like those ladders are legit. They hurt. So think about that when you're watching those ladies take those bumps on those ladders and use the ladders the way they did. They don't do anything to make those any easier to deal with. So yeah, like you said, Tiffany and just all the crazy stuff that we kind of got a chance to see. Everybody had at least one or two spots where it's like, damn, But other than that, though, I do think, like you said, they put the match together nicely to kind of cater to Chelsea winning it. I do love that she won this match in a fashion that only Chelsea Green can win it. I said it like she won in the most loser way possible. And if you follow Chelsea and just kind of like her whole entire thing, yeah, if you just know Chelsea, that's pretty much her gimmick. Like
Yeah,
she's not gonna
yeah.
dominate you. She doesn't really
One of the only way that I could see Chelsea winning, you know.
Right. It was the most realistic way for her to overcome, like, not only the other people in the ring, whether it's Last Jade or Charlotte, but just like when it comes to like her whole entire career and who she is as a character, it fit perfectly. Like you mentioned, she a hot mess, and I think she won in a hot mess fashion. So yeah, it worked out in that way. So, like you said, I thought even me, I wasn't rooting for Chelsea. Obviously, I was rooting for who I predicted for, but uh as I watched the match, like I was just like the fans towards the end, like, come on, Chelsea, just get up, like, because like her losing by just staying down like that would have been incredibly, like, I don't know that would have been the craziest way to lose a match, just stuck and let somebody climb over you to win it or something like that would have been insane. But yeah, I think it's set up perfectly. Now, as far as this interim run goes and what that means if she was to meet Rhea or like where the future lies, who knows, but as far as the match and just being feel good and like you said, everybody showing how tough they were, I thought it was good for what it was.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, Gina, not just with predictions, but I think after Trick losing, I think the crowd needed a little pick me up, and Green winning was there. I think if Charlotte or someone else had maybe got
Truth.
it, it wouldn't have been the bigger reaction that it was for Chelsea Green.
Yeah, probably. But I think Chelsea's always been a fan free favorite for just the character that she's created and built. So yeah, it was more always going to be in her favor.
Her character
Well,
she created. Oh man, she not dang. Is she
she
over,
got
James?
herself over, and then she'll get a
Oh,
story. Now she's over. You
oh, she
see,
got a
that's
story.
that's
Okay, all right.
she'll get a story from it. Right. So scores in Jackson. What would you give it?
The South Five, isn't it?
Yeah, you've only been doing it 300 episodes.
Oh gosh. Uh, you know, I'm overall happy. I'll give this a 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Gina?
Yeah, I enjoyed this match from the ladies, and it was nice to see a lot of them involved on the match card. So I give it no, I'll give it a 4.
Give it a 4. Monty?
Yeah, I give it 3 3/4 too. And mind you, Chelsea got that type of reaction, and that was Tiffany's hometown. It did not seem like it.
They didn't boo when she pissed off the ladder, did they? 4 4 1/4 predictions. Monty went Charlotte, rest went Green, so Monty on 0, the rest are on 1. We got the human monies on a pole match next. Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio. JD McDonough interfered on behalf of Dirty Dom, only to be taken out by the Mini-Hausens, including the returning Toledo Hausen. The latter even took out Dirty Dom, first for a Hurricane Runner, then a Tope Suicida on the floor. JD re-entered the ring, laid out the Mini-Hausens and looked to be a difference maker until Joe Hendry made the save and cracked him over the head with a guitar. Danhausen omnicursed Tom, climbed the pole and won the match. And true to his babyface self, he gave out the money to the fans. Monty, explain this. Why it brought my card down, man, I tell you.
When you say explain this, do you want me to try to make a pitch for why it was good, or do you, or do you just
Yeah, I
want me
don't
to
know what you think. Is it
tell
good?
you what
Because
I
I
thought?
hated this. Was
You want me to
awful.
tell you what I thought?
Yeah.
Oh, what I thought? No, no, no. It was a complete waste of time. It was a complete waste of time and talent. You know, I love Torito Housing though. You know, I liked him when he was El Torito. So I'm a little biased there. But outside of that, this wasn't really much to look at. I mean, again, I think at this point, even me, somebody who will, I still support Dan House because I like the gimmick. I don't like what WWE is necessarily starting to do with it. But at this point, once he started selling all the merch, you was flirting with a whole bunch of danger because like WWE is not even the best place for comedy. Like they are the place for comedy, but they're not the best. They can turn comedy into cringe really really fast. So I'm not so I'm not really surprised that they ran this into the ground to this into this fashion. And maybe if this was just Danhausen versus JD, not that anybody would have wanted to see that either. Maybe I probably feel a little bit not that maybe I feel a little bit better because you're not wasting somebody like Dom who we watch fresh out when he won the title, won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, or when he won that belt at WrestleMania. And also what he done in AAA, because like I've heard rumors now that Dom don't like that he's being booked completely differently, like seriously with Omos as his manager and stuff like that in AAA versus how he's getting booked in WWE, which who could disagree with that? Like it's just not good the way they've been booking Dom. They've just ruined a lot of that momentum that he had. I'm not saying you have to turn Dom face, but like he should have been on a run of runs, and I just think pretty much since that moment at WrestleMania, he's just not gotten great booking at all, great creative. So I do think that's what I'm annoyed with the most is that it's fine when you're messing with the Miz and Kit Wilson and stuff like that. But when you start bringing people like Dom, who you can see a promising future in WWE around, into the Danhausen universe and make wasting our time with stuff like this, then that's when, in my opinion, where I'm like, all right, we're going a little bit too far. We've been going too far, but now we're tearing down futures of like we make it Dominic look bad, which is pointless in my opinion because we gained nothing out of it by doing it this way. But it was what it was. It went exactly how I thought it was gonna go. Did I probably hope it would have been a little bit funnier or a little bit better? Maybe, but to be honest, I told you guys, JD was gonna get embarrassed. It was gonna be shenanigans. Don was gonna get cursed, and that house was win. That house was gonna win, and that's what happened.
I think Gina, though, we talk about frustrations with Dom. Yeah, I mean, he was wearing his old furry gear, so he really wasn't putting any effort either. Like he knows where he is right now. I mean, he needs to get over, I suppose.
It just feels like the fur is bad luck at this point. Um, I don't know. I totally agree. I just don't think that this really helped, like, for Dom, to be honest. If you're looking to put Danhausen over to be even considered in even just a US title picture or something like that, then fine. But realistically, like, you've been pushing Dom this whole time. You've been pushing his gal, even though we know he's married, but still, you've been pushing his girl, Liv, who hasn't defended in 100 days. It's just, it does seem silly here that he's the one then taking the L's to, like, and I get it, you're going to want a comedic relief match for Danhausen, then you're going to need to get some other players in that you're happy to sit there and take L's. That's not going to damage their rankings really in the wrestling, because yeah, this didn't help Dom at all. And don't get me wrong, I kind of like Danhausen. I think he's funny and I do chuckle at him, but yeah, I don't think this was the right call for Dom's like career.
Yeah, I mean, Danhausen has nearly completed WWE now. All he needs is like a funny Survivor Series moment and then like the Royal Rumble bit, and he's basically done it, you know. But the match was rough, Jaxie. But again, it could be worse. You could be John Henry, you know.
I mean, yeah, I kind of should have figured that he say his name and he'll turn up, you know. So there had to have been a cameo. When we've had Joe Hendry matches, there's been a Danhausen cameo, you know. And it seems like WWE only know how to book like wrestlers like this in one way. This was incredibly disappointing. Again, when you're looking at what Dom is accomplishing in AAA, he's a AAA champion, and you're having him lose to the likes of Danhausen, like that to me is just disrespectful in a form of a champion way era. You know, especially the level of wrestling that he is producing in AAA, you know, to showcase how good he is. So then to be overrun by Danhausen and his mini-me's just wasn't something that I thought was going to be entertaining, and it wasn't. If it had been like any other wrestler that maybe isn't on like a streak or as a champion, then maybe this match could have been seen as more comical. But this whole match, I'm wondering, first of all, why is even taking place, but secondly, why it had to be Dom. Also, that was not real money. It was not real human money that Danhausen was shoving out to the crowd.
Danhausen
Was,
money.
yeah,
He's
it was
selling.
bullshit.
No,
but
it's not bullshit. He's selling Danhausen dollars for real money. That is fucking genius. If these idiot sheep want to pay,
yeah, but he's not selling. He
fake
just handed it
fucking
out,
money,
didn't he?
yeah, but
to
And
again,
be
they
fair,
are
yeah, they're
paying
probably
for it,
selling.
Jay.
they're paying it on the
Is it
shop.
actually in the shop?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys are
Yes, like
fucking stupid if you're buying
he's
that.
literally
You guys
making
are
merch money off of this right
you
now.
guys are actually fucking stupid if you're spending money on fake money. Like, do you know what? I'm gonna move on from that because otherwise I'm getting a headache at
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I mean, though.
why.
When I try to say like it's WWE fault, but like the fans are not guilty by buying this mess because when they sold his merch, that's when WWE got the message. Oh, we need to force Danhausen everywhere we can, and the
Yeah,
people are literally buying printed money with his face on it. So like, how can you argue that they? How can you really? I mean, you can argue with it, like of course, but I'm just saying we know at this point what WWE slash TKO want. They want money. And
yeah.
Danhausen's printing money. I
They're
don't get it either,
literally
man.
printing money. Yeah, like you said. Right. So scores
Literally.
then. We've spent way too much time talking about this match. It's out of 5. Then Monty, what would you give it?
You say that, but I feel like I was talking way too much about the Bella twins too. But anyway,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
way too much. But anyway, I give it a 2 because I won't be allowed in the Danhausen mansion housing if I give him less than a 2.
Oh my God, Gina,
Yeah, they can have a 2 as well.
Jaxie.
1. You did Dom dirty.
Oh my God. Oh, SummerSlam's had a 1 and a fucking like 2 from you. I'm gonna give it a 2 as well. This is awful. Predictions: we went Danhausen, so Monty's on 1. The rest are on 2. Up next was the Intercontinental Championship Penta versus Chad Gable, and the Chad Gable redemption story reached its conclusion in his hometown of Minneapolis when he overcame a bloodied forehead and a damaged left shoulder to defeat Penta and capture the Intercontinental Championship. The match may not have lived up to the lofty expectations, but it's still a strong effort from the two of the best workers on the roster, ending with Gable tapping Penta out with his trademark ankle lock. Gina, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, to be honest, James, I think you described it perfectly there. I definitely feel that I put high expectations on the match. I even remember messaging you guys saying I think I've put high expectations on the Gable and Penta match. I really thought it was going to turn out to be my match of the night. Don't get me wrong, it was a great match. I enjoyed seeing them both. I just don't think it portrayed the best of them both that they could have given. I'm not sure whether it's more due to a shorter match time or they just weren't given enough time to cook. I'm not quite sure, but either way, I still enjoyed it, but it just wasn't on the caliber that I was expecting, and I think that's my own fault for placing high expectations on it. But I'm still happy for Chad Gable. The story was great because it was kind of a redemption for him, turning his character around from being the asshole and really showing that he's kind of humbled himself a bit, and this is him trying to now get himself back up to a point where he can respect himself as a wrestler again. So it was a really nice story to tell, and I still enjoyed the match. I just think that I put a little too high expectation on the match for the caliber of match that we got.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, this could have been a little bit more. Jaxie, one of the stories. I mean, WWE don't think mentioned this enough, right? But Penta debuted in singles action against Gable, who after when he lost, then became Americano. So it became like a full circle moment for Gable to beat Penta for that Intercontinental Championship. But they just didn't. Again, they didn't. I don't think give us enough story, and it was like I don't know. This was it was good though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it could have been more.
No, I agree. Also, that is actually pretty cool, knowing that Penta sort of came into this single as a singles and sort of like was facing off originally against Chad in that sense. Um, I think I think it's difficult. What I agree with exactly what my sister said. I think because I put so much high expectation that within both of the wrestlers, I think that they actually delivered a good match. But I think that I put too much expectation behind it and somewhat felt disappointed by the level of wrestling we got. And that's not to say anything about bad about what they did in the ring. They did good in the ring. I just felt like especially after seeing sort of how hard El Grande versus El Grande even went as a match. Like I know these two can really tell a story and build up tension and build up a crowd. And I just felt like it kind of didn't go as high as I expected when it came to the hype of it. It was a great match though, and I think really well deserved from Chad Gable, and an excellent performance by Penta. Again, I just think that maybe I put too much expectation behind it and felt like we didn't get the best of what both Penta and Gable can do in the ring.
Yeah, I mean the post-match promo, Gable's family joined him in the ring was ruined by a guy dressed like a cat. But I mean, Monty, there's a couple of things, isn't it? Because again, we thought they'd go hard, but I mean, Seth and Roman did have to follow it, so it wouldn't be the first time maybe they got told to just tone it down a little bit. And also with Penta, I've heard a lot of people moan about him or what to do next. And if you take away the presentation, charisma, hardcore matches, the history in other promotions, the connection to the crowd, and technical skill, what has Penta really got? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Damn, just strip him down out of the mask and everything, huh, James? Shit. Taking all that away. No, again, I think Penta will be fine because I think what people may not know, because I know the history of him, is that Penta is just as compelling as he is now as a cool babyface. He can be a monstrous heel, and I know we haven't really saw that version of him yet, and we also haven't seen the tag team with him and Ray Phoenix. So we know, I think everybody knows that, or everybody wants that. So that's obviously something that I think they have in their back pocket that they can go to, even though they don't prioritize tag team wrestling enough to the point to where by the time they decide to put Penta and Ray Phoenix together, they only have who what's that tag team in NXT? The champs. God damn it, the young guys. They have Jackson
Oh,
Drake in them. I can't think of their name.
Varsity Project.
Yeah,
No,
by the
yeah,
time Penta and
Vanity
Ray
Project.
Phoenix come,
Fucking hell.
they'll be going against the Vanity Project or whatever their name is. So yeah, I couldn't even think of their name, but you get my point. My point
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
that the tag team wrestling is irrelevant. So I don't know if we're ever really. I don't know if we need to worry about whether or not we'll get to see Penta and Ray together. But what I do think is that Penta is talented enough to land on his feet. Honestly, I think his Intercontinental title was so run. We can go back to the old school ways, and he can be in the world title picture soon. Like I mean, fighting Roman. Maybe y'all have a problem with that, but like I'm saying, Penta may not. We don't. I don't think we can beat him
I would
necessarily,
love to
but
see Penta
I would
versus
love to
Roman
watch
one on
it.
one. I
Right,
mean, I'm
that'll be a
trying to.
completely different style.
I don't know if we've ever had that yet. Have
Right.
we? So that would be
No, I
great.
don't think they've ever fought at all. So
Again, just
exactly. So
Penta's a
that's what I'm
mid
saying.
carder at the moment in time. You know, Roman's over. So
Yeah.
it's like
Right,
you've got
right.
to
I
work.
get, yeah, that's a good point.
Like,
That's a good point.
this goes back to what I was saying about CM Punk. I want to see him face new fresh faces. I would love to see Penta versus Roman. I think that would be a great match.
Right, and
Give me
even
Dre-
Penta. I mean, Penta and Punk, because Penta and Punk had a great AEW match in my,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
Punk was
exactly.
there. So even that makes
Stick
sense to me.
Dragunov
What you
in
about
with
to say
Punk
about
as
Drew?
well. If we no, it's like
Oh,
Dragunov,
Dragunov.
Dragunov and
Okay.
Punk. Yeah, give me that. Like, that would be
I
fun.
assume you was gonna say Drew again.
No,
But
but Drew
okay, yeah,
McIntyre is a
Dragunov for
legend. You
sure,
are
for
right.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Dragunov for sure could be in the world title picture or just a match. A title match could make a star. But anyway, much like Undertaker and Jeff Hardy in that ladder match. Again, you can build a star without them having like Triple H should know that, but we'll whatever. We can move on. We can move on from what he says because sometimes what he says just baffles me. But yeah, I think this match was good. I agree with you guys about it missing something, and I do think the most compelling parts of this match for me was the submission battles and stuff towards the end. And after Penta kind of did the arm break thing, it reminded me of when Penta was a heel and he used to literally break people's arm. And like I was like, maybe that's what this match was missing. Like you mentioned the El Grande. Not only did it not go long enough to be as dramatic as that El Grande clash, but I think it didn't have that heat of like, they're both giving it their all. They both don't like each other, and that adds an element. Like people may not like it, but that's always been my thing about babyface versus babyface matches. Sometimes, depending on the situation, sometimes they can hit perfectly. But even with Punk and Cody, I feel like underneath what's missing there is like true. We have storyline reasons to not like each other, and like you watch, even if you like both guys, that extra storyline, which we can talk about in this main event, can play a factor because I feel like that can give the match something that could push the match over the edge when it comes to investment. But either way it goes, I thought, like you said, it was a great match, still nonetheless. But I don't think it was like you guys mentioned, like that maybe that classic that we feel like on paper it could have been. But I feel like both guys will be fine. I'm excited to see what they finally do with Gable as champion. I hope they just give him fresh opponents every couple of weeks. I would love to see him versus Javon Evans or something for that belt at some point, stuff like that. It'll be really, really cool. But as far as Penta goes, I think it's time to move him up to the world championship picture.
I hope Gable jobs out to Big Cass. Out of 5, then, Gina, what would you give
Oh
him?
my God.
This is difficult. I'm gonna give it a 3 3/4.
Jax?
Yeah, 3 3/4 from me.
Monty?
I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5. Predictions, who all went Gable's Monty's on 2, the rest are on 3. And the main event was the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And Reigns exercised the demon that is the Shield, and Rollins defeating the originally in a match that will rank maybe among the year's best come December. The Tribal Chief resisted his opponent's mind games. There was no bloodline interference. Instead, Reigns overcame the greatest threat to his current run as champion cleanly in the center of the ring, defeating him with 3 consecutive spears. It was a culmination of a match that relied heavily on exchange of finishers, owes to the former Shield mate Dean Ambrose, and several perfectly executed false finishes and dramatic near falls. The fans hung on every move both men did, ate up all the references, and delivered the heat befitting a match of this magnitude. Most memorable was what occurred after the bell when Reigns extended his fist and Rollins, reluctant at first, joined him for the ceremonial Shield fist bump on the mat below the Shield mask. Another ode to Ambrose and the magic the trio created during its run. It was an era-ending battle, maybe a perfectly executed main event, and a defining matchup in both men's career. There was no doubt that this was everything WWE had. Jaxie, what are your thoughts? I mean, like I said, this is WWE. Like it or love it.
Yeah, I mean, like I can't say that the nostalgia didn't get to me throughout the match. There was like a lot of references to them being part of the Shield throughout the match. There was like a lot of psychological stuff going on, like Seth really wanting to prove that Roman isn't who he says he is, that he can't get shit done without the bloodline, that he has to have outside interference. When like realistically, a lot of what I saw is like Seth losing it against the fact that Roman was fighting fair. There was like that moment with the chair incident, and Seth is just stood there waiting for him to do it, just like had done it all those years back to him. And yet Roman didn't he didn't play into that, you know. And there was something about that was a bit of a shock for me. I kind of thought, Roman will do what Roman does, in order to win. But here we actually saw, someone who was like, "Nah, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna beat you in the way I want to, and you cannot do anything other than acknowledge me after that." Do you know what I mean? So there was like a real storytelling here that I think both wrestlers did well. I really loved sort of like the homage to sort of the Dean Ambrose moves, or the John Moxley moves that both Seth and Roman like did, like sort of simultaneously one after the other to one another. I thought that was a really great sort of moment and a great spot as well. Um, Overall, like this match was good. I thought that there was going to be outside interference or like a shock return, kind of like what we got with the Cody CM Punk match. But I can say that I'm not I'm actually not disappointed by that. I actually really like that it ended cleanly and almost was like, this is the ending of our story, like that, this is it, done. So I mean, for me, I thought overall both men did what they needed to do, and I thought the match itself was good. I think they've had better matches in the past, but I thought it was still good.
Yeah, but no, I completely agree. There's a couple of points I'm going to pick up on there. I mean, Monty, this is to talk about Seth. I mean, if this is it for the Shield and they're finally going to get over the fucking chair shot to the back, then Seth definitely hasn't got long left, because then Roman can move on with the bloodline and the Shield can be looked back upon as it is. People fucking love the Shield. I don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Shield fan, but I'm surprised how much love it's actually got.
Yeah, I think I think that was the realization I had when everybody was talking about how even when the commentators and even some of the fallout from this match, everybody was talking about how great this was, and even when I'm watching listen to the crowd during the match, I was just like, they are really into this, and I'm like, I'm not saying they weren't wrestling their asses off or telling a pretty good story, because I agree pretty much with everything that's already been stated about the match. Like, it was really the moments, definitely the Ambrose stuff, and like the way Roman kind of again, which kind of what I predicted was gonna happen. Like, this match was gonna be Roman thwarting Seth Rollins without any other help. He's gonna beat him and prove that he's the guy the proper way. And and that's why the whole night, the whole match, he was trying to tell Seth that Seth number two, because that's pretty much the narrative here. But I'm just like you, James. Like, I love the Shield. I loved all three of the guys, all three of them. I love what they've all become. You guys already know I'm way more biased, because like Mox pretty much is probably my favorite out of the three at this point. But like, again, I know what they mean to like the last decade and a half or so of wrestling. I know what they mean to it and how they kind of picked the company up, post Super Cena era and all of that. How they kind of was the people that they are the guys that people were investing in when it comes to this company. So I understand it, but I'm not that guy. I wasn't really that into it. It's from like the theatrics, or just like all of the dramatics of it, or like the double power, like the power bomb spots was cool, but it's just like it was some people that's just digging way deeper than the match about these spots and everything and the dramatics, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. You guys are obviously way more invested in the Shield than I ever was. But again, I understand the magnitude of it all. I thought it was a great, and I also ultimately agree, James, that this is just very WWE. Like, we're gonna watch Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega like put on a display in the main event, for AEW, and I think that's gonna be like AEW putting out their two best that they have to offer in the ring for the biggest prize, and I think this is WWE's version of that before we even get there when it comes to who they view as two of the best, two era defining guys. and how the match even played out, in my opinion, with the finishers, the dramatics, all of that stuff. Very, very quintessential WWE match. So again, I'm not trying to tell anybody who was in their feelings or anybody who loved this match that you were wrong. I'm just speaking from my own personal opinion of like, okay, it was good, and I thought they did some things that was really, really cool to see. And I never, ever, ever, ever need to hear a Shield story beat again, unless you guys tell me that, unless you're telling me Moxley signed a contract with WWE, which I don't think he ever will. But if he was, then maybe I'll let you guys get away with bringing it up again then. But other than that, I think we can leave this in the past. Also, Seth Rollins recently said that he wants his last match to be a Shield triple threat. Good luck with that, bro. Good luck with that.
Well, Kurt Angle might be available. You never know. Yeah, like you said, this is interesting. I do want to mention Moxley quickly because Gina, the thing is that Moxley's kind of the real CM Punk in a way as well, as he went out and did his own thing, has built his own legacy. But Michael Cole, like, you fucking puppet Michael going, well, Reigns and Rollins never left, did they? They're always hitting. It's like, get over it, for fuck's sake. Like, we know you love Roman and Seth, we know they're number 1 and 2, but fuck me, like, come on.
Yeah, it kind of like left a little bit of a bad taste in a sense, just because it's like, wait, hang on, you've been boasting for weeks to build up this match between Roman and Seth by talking about how dominable the Shield were as a faction and how great they were as a faction. But then you're going to kind of throw and subtly throw shade on the third member by just saying, these two stayed. It's just like, oh, shut the fuck up, Michael. Like, seriously. It was really annoying to listen to him on commentary as well. So yeah, that was quite annoying. I will mirror both Monty and Jaxie's views on this match. I thought it was great, and I thought it showed Roman's strength and growth. I mean, in terms of he could have easily picked up that chair and just used it, because that would be a Roman thing to do as well. We've seen him do it in the past to others, but with the significance of using that in this match, it just shows you the strength that Roman has like grown to. So that was kind of nice to see. But I will admit, like, some of the spots that they were just longing stuff out a little bit for me. I just mean in terms of just sitting there, and I get it, they're catching their breath because they're both tired, but I'm like, you've been sat here for a good couple of minutes now, and this is probably why the Gable and Penta match had to be cut short, because you're just sat around right now staring at the camera, chatting shit. And again, I get it, that's what you do, but it was just too many times. There were just too many little breathers like that for me in this match. So that's the one downside I will say about it at all. I still enjoyed the match. I still enjoyed the storytelling from it. But yeah, we didn't need as long of pauses and waits for you guys to try and get into each other's heads or just catch a breath or something. I think it was just too many. So yeah.
But I think that says more thing about us than it does about the product, because, like we say, the fans and the people watching fucking loved every moment. And I'm going, Jesus Christ, like, I don't want to call them like diehard WWE fans, but do you know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously, we watch WWE all the time, but again, I'm just, like I said, I was like, fucking hell, this is long, but people just eat it up. You know what I mean? I'm going, fucking hell, maybe I'm not as, in the loop or wherever it was.
I just think I'm a negative bitch.
No, I felt the same. I was watching it. I'm going, no, this is great. But again, I knew it was WWE kind of, but the crowd reactions, and I'm going, fucking hell. Like Monty said, like Shield, a powerbomb for the announce table, and the people going, it's a Shield powerbomb through the announce table, and I'm like,
And they
okay,
were
guys,
losing their fucking mind.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
like,
every little fucking thing, like.
We were sitting there, we were typing back and forth about it. I'm just watching. I'm just like, I can't believe that they are like, I can't believe that these people like are loving it this way. Like, have a good time. Don't get me wrong. None of us are trying to be like, but it did feel like it was a little much. Like, that's all.
Yeah.
As if we don't see someone getting powerbombed through the announcer table every week on SmackDown and Raw, but yeah. Like,
Yeah,
that's never happened before.
They didn't announce this was no count out or disqualification, but I guess it was. I know referee took it a bump, but they were into the crowd. But anyway, like I said, this is what WWE had. This was everything. So, Jaxie, what would you give out of 5?
I gave this a 4 1/4.
4 1/4, Monty.
For those people and those diehards, I'm sure it was 5 stars. Michael Cole seemed like he thought it was 5 stars, but I give it 4.5.
Gina.
Michael Cole definitely would have given this 5 stars. I'll go 4.5 as well.
So predictions, we all went Roman. So final scores: Monty on 3, another win for James, Jaxie, and Gina on 4. And not only that, we 3 of us get a point for winning both days. So I've got to say, congratulations, Gina. You deserve it. You're a true winner there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and me too as well. Both of us.
Myself.
Yeah. I know. Well, we won't make a big thing about Jax either. So WWE then, it means that the league stands Monty on 3, I'm on 4, Jaxie, Gina on 6. And bonus league now, it means that I've moved to 14 in the lead, Gina and Monty on 13, and Jaxie on 12. I've never seen a bonus league so close in all my life. Overall rating for night 2. Monty, you start us off then. Match of the night, MVP, and rating.
All right, loser goes first. I don't know who's on this card that deserves MVP. Oh yeah. Chelsea. Yeah, there you go. Good job, Chelsea. Yay. Uh, this show was a mixed bag. I do think it has a pretty good peak, but I'm gonna go with like a 7 overall though, because I do think the lows was like probably historically low. So yeah, this one was not paced well, and I will keep beating. I know it don't matter now because at this point TKO is going to make the Royal Rumble 2 nights. They love those 2 nights of ads that they get the show. So at the end of the day, I can stop trying to fight this battle. It's a losing battle, but I'm just saying WWE pay-per-views. There's 2 nights. One night always sucks. It just we haven't got 2 straight great nights yet. We just haven't. We have not got 2 straight great nights yet. One night is gonna be like mid at best, and then the next night or the first night might be great. So it is what it is. But yeah, so I give it a 7. In my match, I think my match has to be Roman and no, my match is the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. It's either going to be one or the other, I think. Both got 4.5, I think. Yeah. Gina, what about you?
Which one's my highest rated match? Oh,
I would say, looking at it, it was the ladder match, but my scribbling's awful. I think it's between ladder match and main event.
no, do you know what? I am gonna swap it over. I'm gonna give the 4-way my match of the night, and I'll give Chelsea the MVP for winning. Overall, 7.
7. And Jaxie?
Chelsea for MVP for sure. I think my match of the night might have been Roman and Seth, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's the opener.
Oh, was it?
Both,
Okay,
both,
well,
yeah.
I'll go for the opener then if it was that. And overall, yeah, this was worse than night 1 for me. So a 7.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8. Match was the main event because no one else gave it. An MVP, not Chelsea Green and Chad Gable. So if we're talking about both nights, Gina, I'll come to you first, just for both nights overall, because I thought night 1 was better than night 2. I think, as Monty eloquently put. But what would you score both nights?
I think 8.5 is good.
Jackson?
8.
8. And Monty?
7 3/4.
7 3/4. I'm going to give it 8.5 for both nights. I really enjoyed night 1, and I thought night 2 let it down a little bit, which is kind of weird when you think about the matches that were on there. The last thing to do is talk about the post show. Jackie grabs a word with Roman. He says he closes a loop. The football career ended here. It's special for him. He's finally grown up and matured. He said since FCW there were always two, but now he's a real man. Jaxie, doesn't make you sick when someone grows up and matures. Do you know what I mean? Like, fuck you.
How dare
Ain't he
they?
40?
Like, what the hell, man? No, that's just you that has a problem with everyone growing up and maturing because you still haven't yet, James.
It says here, fuck you, next. So I don't know whether to read that or not. But that's what it says. I mean, I suppose I should. Anyway, on to the panel. Joe Test, Big E, Graves, and Sam Petersburg. KO joins the panel and hugs everyone. And a big one for Big E. There is something genuine about Kevin Owens, which I really love. He said he's not ready to retire. He said he's got a great group around him. He calls Finn and Sammy brothers, and Gunther probably the best wrestler in the world. He's not back, and he's back, but he's not half-arsing it. He's not going to be careful. He said if he's done in 2 years, then let's have a blast. Monty, again, I'm not expecting anything else from KO, but again, man, it's just like we might only have 2 years with Kevin Owens wrestling the way he does. Let's make the most of it, you know?
Yep. At this point, we should make a list of great wrestlers I've heard. Like he's on the list with Kenny Osprey. Like damn, like it sucks. I'm laughing, but it really sucks because. But again, I mean, who knows? Like a lot of these guys, especially Kevin. I think Kevin at this point has been wrestling over 20 years. So it's crazy when you think about it. How much time has kind of flew by, but yeah, man, I think like you said, Kevin. It's only one Kevin Owens. There's only one, and like I think, like you said, he's gonna go out the way he's meant to go out. He want to be able to, and I think every wrestler, in a sense, like even Randy, kind of, because he had an injury that scared him. Like everybody wants to decide how that looks. Nobody wants to just be forced out. You know what I mean? So, and I thought it was cool when he talked about like having conversations with Big E because he even mentioned that he didn't like a month or so before this, he thought he was done too. He literally thought he would be like Big E and couldn't come back. So, like it's really really amazing not only to see how good he looked in this match, but just like you said, we have a chance to get one last, hopefully fun run with Kevin able to do like he said what he does and able to do it at that level. So I love Kevin and I think we all kind of have an appreciation for him. So I can't wait to see what this looks like, how this next 2 years look like. But overall, it does kind of give a sucky feeling to know that people like himself, Kenny Omega, Osprey, like who knows in the next 5 years how many guys who've been great over the last decade or so plus how many of those guys will still be doing it?
Yeah, without a doubt. He also mentioned Rebel as well and said she's not, associated with WWE, but her ALS battle is the true inspiration. Just an all-round good guy. We caught up Baron Corbin and his fluffy title. He said he's made a statement and he wants to get rid of the fur. Danhausen joined the panel. We got nothing new. Chelsea Green joined. Panel saluted. You deserve it, Charles. She said she was speechless. She saw every face in the crowd, 13 years in the making, and how many times was she fired, but she still made it back. Her girlfriends couldn't make the flight. She said, what's new? She's always going to have something like that. And she says she's just a wrestler, nothing else. She's, wasn't a collegiate athlete, didn't want to play basketball or anything else like that. She just wanted to wrestle. And she did dedicate the title to Michael Hayes. And yes, that was the guy, as we know, who said Chelsea Green wasn't a main event talent. We got a quick word with Triple H. He said the Shield story is one of the greatest stories in wrestling, and they're operating on a different level. Talking about the future, he said Nick Aldis and Kevin Owens, look really good. He praised his own booking. And then Chad Gable's last on the panel. He looked rightfully emotional. You deserve it, Chance. And Graves said to him he hadn't been that proud of someone since Big E won the championship. Gable said he lost it. He said Shorty G was his low point. If you say you're going to do it, stick with it and do it. Never give up. I mean, Gina, again, the mantra of never give up. But just give up, man. If it's too tough, just don't bother. I mean, Gable tried, but no, he was successful. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I suppose everyone should listen to Never Give Up, but there are some times where you should just read the room and just give up.
Yeah. Well, he put over Penta, and that was that. And so this is it. That is it for SummerSlam weekend. I think wrapped up quite well in the little bow. Don't forget, across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
Yeah, you can find me on X and Twitch at Jaxie Scarlett.
Oh, actually, do you know what I forgot to do? I'll ask you, Jaxie. I'll ask you this as well. What are your thoughts on WWE? Because it might be a little break. I'm not sure when the next PLE is with WWE, but we've caught up now with SummerSlam. What are your thoughts as it kind of built up and had the biggest event of the summer, so to speak?
I don't know. I feel very up and down with them at the moment. I think that they've continuously made poor choices when it comes to the way they're booking people. I still don't think that's gotten any better. However, I can't say that they haven't been doing great work with a specific few individuals. It's just not consistent enough yet, and that's where WWE need to aim and strive for, is to be consistent across the whole roster. Not when it comes to just singles division, not when it just comes to the women's division, but also when it comes to the tag division. I'd like to actually see them improve on that, but that is a big ask.
It is. But yeah, excellent. That is WWE. Like I said, we'll catch up with it when we can. Monty, where can people find and follow you in the meantime?
You can find me at Mind of Monty Pod because I am over and not in catering like you guys.
And Gina?
I'm on Instagram and Twitch and X at Purple Pain.
The Double North on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at doublepodcast@gmail.com and YouTube. The Double Podcast, where we're celebrating 11 years of the WNR with shorts, universe modes, clips, and from any event we go to. Also, the podcast is live on YouTube, also SoundCloud on your phone, and Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is, next weekend we finally catch up with AEW and Redemption. So who knows? It might be Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight at All In. We just don't know. Until now, I've been James Bones and was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Jaxie, you're going to lose soon, yeah? Because, this kind of you winning is not
Absolutely
very fun.
not. Absolutely not. I was I sadly didn't take the mantle this time around. Wait for it. We're just gonna keep on going for it. We were at the top still, but we can do better. So watch this space and you'll see just me reigning soon.
And, of course, the mind of Monty. Monty, I won't mention predictions. We'll just move on if you want.
Oh no, you can mention it. I was kicking y'all ass last year, and I suck. I suck. It's fine. I suck right now.
You really do. Yeah, last year, but, it's a shame. And, of course, the genius of Gina, the true prediction queen at this moment in time, I will say.
It's going positively for me for now, so I'm going to try and keep that up and see out the year the way I'm doing it now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.